Tonight, we're going to have a little conversation about haters and rats. I want to start with the most recent example and move backwards from there. Recently, in case you weren't aware of it, but how in the world could you not be aware of it? A$AP Rocky made all the news. There was an altercation that happened between him and one of his former homeboys from his clique, A$AP Relly. And I want to go into a little bit of detail. You know what happened, or if you didn't know what happened, basically one of their associates had gotten killed. And there had been beef already. There had already been issues and animosity because A$AP Rocky basically was the breakout star of their group. And you know how that happens when you got a bunch of people around you, but then suddenly one of you breaks out from the pack. You're only going to have one of two responses. That's it. Ain't no in between. You're going to have the people who are happy for you and the people who are hating on you. And the folks who are going to hate on you most are the ones who were or are closest to you. Those are going to be the biggest, most voracious haters, the most bitter ones, because they're looking at what happened to you and they're not looking at you and then looking at themselves and saying, how can they step their game up and analyzing their faults? What they're going to do is take a look at you, take a look at themselves and say, well, I'm as good as he is. I'm as good as they are. Why didn't I get that? It ain't right that I didn't get that because I'm as good as you. Now, you all know that you spent your lives around folks who were not as good as you. They were not. But they were damned and determined that somebody was going to give them the same benefits that you got, even though they're not on your level, even though they didn't do the work, even though they didn't put in the time, even though they didn't sacrifice, even though they didn't commit themselves, even though they didn't apply themselves. They still sitting up saying they want that. So you getting it didn't turn a mirror onto them to improve themselves. You getting it turned on the hater gene. And the real issue here is that them folks already know it. Them folks are already there and they already know it. So there was already animosity and issues between A$AP Rocky and A$AP Relly before time. A$AP Relly goes around telling folks and sending Rocky nasty text messages talking about, you should have put some money on old dude. Why they got to pay for this, that, and the other? The man got to get buried and you ain't helping your homeboys out of this, that, and the other. Meanwhile, Rocky had already given money to the family. He had already done that. This dude is on his phone dissing him about something that Rocky had already pitched in on. So Rocky, at this point here, Rocky's just upset. He's just mad. And he's like, look here, dude, let's go ahead and meet up and handle this. So A$AP Rocky shows up, A$AP Relly is there, the other dude is there, for those of you who've seen the video, and the situation goes down. Now, what I'm saying is that first of all, that's the definition of some street stuff right there. That's street business right there. You and another fella is beefing, and he like, hey, bruh, I'm going to be at this place at this time right there. You need to be there. Ain't nobody else around, so we can go ahead and see what the situation going to be. That's street business. And they supposed to be street dudes. But I'm here to let you all know tonight the concept, the core foundational principles of the street life and street business, that's dead, bruh. That is dead. We ain't got real street dudes out here operating anymore. We don't have that. We have a bunch of overgrown mama's boys. Let me tell you something. Real, true street dudes. Whether it's the Italian Mafia, remember, the Italian Mafia, they were called men of respect. Joseph Bonanno, when he wrote his book, they looked up to the gangsters because they were men of respect. They were looked up to. Because they were men who had a code. If you saw the first Godfather movie, Don Corleone, people came to him with their problems, people who were not mafiosos. So you see, Yeah, he was a gangster, but he was known in the community. He was a force of influence and power that kept things stable and could settle issues and solve problems. That's why they were respected. Not because he went off and bought himself a big house and said, damn the rest of y'all, but because he used his power and influence for the good of other people. So they were looked up to and respected as their position in the community. They were looked up to and respected as a result. We don't have a lot of that anymore. We don't have that. When you talk about Frank Lucas, when you talk about Nicky Barnes, when you talk about the Black Panthers, yeah, they was gangsters. And they also told you that if there was a dispute, you knew you could go to Frank, Nicky, the Black Panthers, and disputes would be handled at the street level. You did not have to go to the dominant society. You did not have to go outside of that. You didn't have to do any of that. That's the whole issue right there. You didn't have to do any of that. So these are foreign concepts now. These are completely foreign concepts. We don't have generations of boys raised by men who are accountable to other men. That's the difference. We don't have generations of boys raised into men by men who are accountable to other men. You've got boys raised by women who are accountable to the state. So when you think that you are going to be out there and folks are going to abide by the street code and the street rules, first rule of the streets is the state isn't the boss here. The streets is the boss. That's the number one rule of the streets. The streets, by definition, is separate from the government. So you cannot be in the street life or street business with people who are not dedicated to the street business. We're going to get into those rules here in a little bit. I want to go back here to ASAP Relly, also known as ASAP Telly. When you got a hater in your midst, you got to understand something. Haters only live for two things. They wait for the day that something happens to you or the day they can make something happen to you. But please trust and believe, a hater is eventually going to have to make their move. They're going to have to. The reason why is because your very existence bothers them. Let me explain to you why. Let me give you a very clear example why. That will put this in the very clear terms for everybody and explain exactly what you're looking at here and make it very, very obvious and stark to you here. I want to show you, if you want a perfect example of why it is that haters gonna hate. Why it is that your very presence is the problem. I want you to take a look at this on your screens here. This is the Instagram for ASAP Relly. This is his Instagram. He got a few pictures up. He wants to be working out. Some folks left some comments. All that working out just so you can point the finger on the stand. All that working out just so you can point the finger on the stand. You take a look up there. He's got 18,000 followers. He's been part of the ASAP Rocky's clique, part of the crew. He's been out there forever trying to chase the bag. He's not talking about rapping. He's talking about working out. So obviously rap is not paying him. Rap is not paying him. He got 18,000 followers. Meanwhile, over here on ASAP Rocky, 19 million. And he doesn't even have any posts up for you to look at. 19 million. Barely got 19,000, and your man got 19 million. You're not on his level. You're not on his level. Furthermore, you never have been, and you're not in line to be on his level. And when that realization sinks into a hater, they go rabid. They go nuts. Their reason for existing just flew off the board. And your presence is now a problem. I've told y'all about this before. If you're standing next to a midget, no disrespect to the midgets out there, but if you're standing next to a midget, he is 4 feet tall. and you are 6'7", you don't have to say anything to him to make him feel inadequate, to make him feel bad, to make him feel offended. Your presence, just you standing there, just you being there, is an offense to him. It's an insult to him. It's driving him insane. Just you standing there. You ain't said nothing to him. You haven't done anything to him. You going about your business. Your presence is do you understand how that is in y'all's lives? For a lot of you who are trying to be progressive, you follow the rules I've given you. You're increasing your income. You're increasing your value. Do you understand that as you increase your value, your presence, just you being there, is now going to start racking up enemies? There are people who are looking at you, and just like a midget, I don't care what he does, he's never going to be 6'7". That's not going to happen. Okay, so he says there's no point in me even trying. Let me just get straight to the hating. There's no sense in me trying to, quote, improve myself. Let me see what I can do to tear you down. Let me see what I can do to knock you off. Let me see what I can do to undermine you. Ain't no hope for me. So now my full-time job is calculating and formulating a way to get at you. That's my full-time job now. That's it. Ain't nothing else to it. The beef is on. It's all the way up and it's all the way on. Not trying to hear or have nothing else. Not trying to have nothing else. So I want you all to understand that. Many of you in your lives, if you think about it, you've seen that. If you have seen that in your lives where you have made an enemy of somebody is offended, somebody's insulted, simply because you standing there and you're not losing. If you have experienced that in your lives, give me the money bag emoji in the chat room and hit the likes button for me. It's over 1,000 people in here live in just the first 12 minutes. But if you've sat up here and have folk who are offended simply because you're in the room, give me the money bag emoji. There are life lessons here I want folks to learn. There are life lessons here I want folk to get. There are life lessons I want folks here to understand. A lot of you have had those issues in life here. You've had folk around you who didn't mean you any good. They weren't doing anything good for you here. And that's problematic. Okay, I'm having audio issues here. Let me see if I can go ahead and get that resolved. I'm having audio issues here. You have folk who are in your life, and I say in your life. You have folk who are in your life and they're looking to be in your way is what they're looking to be. They're looking to be in your way, and you have to be careful when you achieve a high level of success. You got to be careful when you achieve a high level of success. And please understand, high level is in many cases relative to the people around you. It's a high level of success, and it is relative to the people around you. When you have folk around you who are looking at opulence, they're looking at high performance, and they're not able to do what you're able to do. You have to separate yourself from them, especially if you came up with them. Because what I just said was actually a fallacy and a misnomer. I said you have to separate yourself from folk who are not doing as well as you, even if you came up with them. Here's the problem. You didn't. They didn't come up with you. You came up and they stayed where they are. That's the point. Many times, folk, your good spirit and your soft-hearted nature, and you don't realize that you have outstripped the people who are around you, that they didn't keep up. This is how you end up holding on to people who are not competitive. You start holding on to people who are not performing, and they either become a leech or they become a viper. They either become a bloodsucker or they become a snake. And that is why it is essential that you either have folk around you who are performing at your level or don't have anybody at all, because the folks who are not on your level, they want something. That's the problem. Folks who are not at your level, they want something. A$AP Relly sat there next to A$AP Rocky all this time, telling himself, well, Rocky is skinny and Rocky is scrawny, and I think I look more masculine, and yet Rocky surpassed him on every level. Rocky didn't have to get bulked up. Rocky got badder broads than he's ever going to have. You got this dude sitting right there who's telling himself that he's a legend in his own mind and telling himself he's doing great. And every time he sees you, you are a brutal, beating him in the face reminder of what he cannot do and what he hasn't done. Every time you come around, he's hating. He despises it. He can't stand it. Because he wants to believe that he's up to code and he's not. So just like a midget can want to believe that he's up to code. Mr. 6'7" comes in. There's no way for him to ignore the obvious reality. It's in his face. He can't get away from it. You can't get away from it. The biggest haters that you have are sitting right next to you. The biggest haters that you have are sitting right next to you. Now let me go ahead to the next point here. When a hater has an opportunity that they think they have an opportunity to take you down, or they have an opportunity to do something or allow something that would lead to your downfall. Y'all gotta understand, they're sitting around hoping for your downfall. Haters are the most fantasy-minded people you'll ever meet. They sit around fantasizing, they sit around wishing, they don't sit around working, they don't sit around improving themselves, but they have very active imaginations and very active fantasy lives. They spend all their damn time daydreaming, which is why they remain followers and never actually compete or perform at a high level. It doesn't happen for them because it can't. But they spend all their time hating on the person who is getting results. So you have to understand that haters are hoping for your downfall. And when the opportunity presents itself to act on it, it will be reflexive. They will have no choice but to act on it if an opportunity has presented itself. If they think they got a chance to take you down, they're gonna go for it. Even if it's weak, even if it's flimsy, even if it's doomed to fail. So you got to understand, if they see that chance, they're going to go for it. A$AP really thought he had a chance. So he was willing to destroy and annihilate his credibility in the business, his credibility in society. He was ready to throw all that to the wind so that he could finally take down the man whose very presence alone was emasculating him. Take a look at the comments section over here. Take a look at the comments. Comments, stretching to find that truth in you, ain't you? Stretching to find the truth that ain't in you, huh? All that working out just to point a finger in court. I don't see no permanent damage in them hands. I don't know what's more of a stretch, you in this photo or your story or Rocky shooting you. 3 of your knuckles got scraped off, LOL. You know that's impossible from a bullet, right? You did super bad, gang. ASAP Relly, you lost. People, listen to me. This is a hater's fate. Right here. You see, a hater's biggest fear is that they gonna make that move on you and that it's gonna come up snake eyes. That's a hater's biggest fear. Cassie became a hater of Diddy. And when she saw an opportunity to take him down, she was willing to destroy all of her credibility. Can't show your face in public. Nobody wants to deal with you. Who in the world is signing up to be on the next Cassie album? I'll wait. So you can't get nothing done, and this is it. So you're hoping that nobody gets out here and shows the world what you are, because you need to throw the rocks and hide your hand. This is a hater's fate. Hell isn't just repetition, and hell isn't a place far away under the ground on Judgment Day somewhere. Hell is right here with people seeing what a dog you are. Hell is right here when you've lost all respect, all credibility. Hell is right here. Ain't enough bicep curls in the world to develop your character again. Your credibility's gone. Your credibility's lost. Nobody wants to be next to you. Nobody wants to stand with you. There will be no future opportunities for you. It is gone. Every time you show up, every time you say your name, this is your new identity. And why? Because he hated ASAP Rocky so much. Because Rocky was able to perform. It doesn't matter if you don't like Rocky's music as much. It doesn't matter if you don't like him as much. The bottom line is, dude, whatever that it factor is, you don't have it. Rocky does, and you hating on him ain't gonna take it from Rocky. So he said, fine, if hating on Rocky ain't gonna take it, then let me see if I can go ahead and become a snitch and take it. He went up there on the damn stand. He was on the stand, literally pointing his fingers on the stand, literally pointing. That's the one. That's who done it. That's who did it to me. Yeah, that's him right there. You got to understand, these dudes, that when they're not out here around solid folk, you are unsolid as hell. That's exactly what the hell it is. That's exactly what the hell it is. And the good part about this is they put you out there where you got to speak. Everybody and their mama can see it. Everybody and their mama can see it. Let me go ahead and throw this up on the screen for you right quick. There's ASAP Telly on the stand. There's ASAP Telly on the stand. He's done the impossible. ASAP Rocky, the dude who goes around with dresses and handbags. You got ASAP Rocky looking like an alpha male. What? But you do. He's got ASAP Rocky looking like the alpha. He's done the impossible. Lack of character, lack of ability, lack of principle. That's what ends up happening to you. He was hoping that this would be a kill shot. He was hoping that he would be that which would take out ASAP Rocky and that it wouldn't matter. Let me explain to you all what ASAP Telly's real goal was. His real goal was to destroy ASAP Rocky's career. That was his true goal. His true goal didn't matter about ASAP going to jail or nothing. He was on that stand in the desperate hope that he could destroy ASAP Rocky's career, because really the Telly ain't never had one. Yeah, when you add it up and start analyzing what he did and what he could have reasonably expected, it starts to make sense. yeah, he couldn't actually make anything else happen. So he was hoping he could destroy ASAP's career. He was hoping that ASAP would lose his sponsors. He would lose his associations, lose your album deal. That's what he was hoping for. Please remember, if ASAP had taken the deal and he turned the deal down, which a lot of folks thought was suicide and turned out to be brilliant, but if he had taken the deal, he would have had to spend 6 months in jail. He probably would have done like 3 or 4, but he'd have to spend 6 months in jail and have a felony. And that would have been, that. It might not have been the end of him, because you got felonies with rappers come standard. But for the deals that he's got with some of the folks he's got, that would have caused a major issue for him. So Relly understands that he was never going to get that. Relly was never going to get them deals. He was never going to get a sponsorship. Nobody's asking him to be a feature. There's no chick 3 slots south of Rihanna that is checking for him. So his goal was, nigga, I've been hating on you all this time, and I've had to sit on it and eat it and swallow it and tolerate the stench, and I can't stand it anymore. And when he finally had a chance to make his move, he blew up. He exploded, even though what he was doing was actually not helping the case. He was willing to sacrifice his principles, if he ever had any, sacrifice his street credibility, sacrifice his street respect. But then again, how was it going to hurt him? I want you to remind you all, how was it going to hurt him? After all, I'll be damned. He's got 18,000 followers on Instagram. Please understand, when you're a man who's built, when you're a man who's successful, keep niggas who ain't got nothing to lose from around you.
And deal with it, nigga.
ASAP Rocky got up that night, went out to that street corner to go meet up with a jackass who had nothing to lose. ASAP got everything to lose and nothing to gain. And he got lured out by a no-name, irrelevant ass clown who has nothing to lose. Men who have something to lose should only and can only be in the presence, can only have dealings, can only get up and meet up with similar people who have equal or greater to lose. You cannot be a person with something to lose sitting next to somebody with nothing to lose. Your mindset and your ideology are completely diametrically the opposite of theirs. You are both going in opposing directions. And what that means, if you're going in opposing directions, they oppose you. By definition, they got to bring you down. By definition, they have to. They have to. ASAP Relly is like a bootleg knockoff Birkin bag. Everybody can see it's phony. You're calling yourself ASAP, but dude, only one of y'all has been making good on that name. The other one is just wishes he were. Dude, you fizzled out years ago. It's never going to happen for you. It ain't going to happen. So he was hoping that he could destroy this man's career and destroy his future prospects so that finally the both of them would be losing. That was what he's been waiting on. Damn it, if I'm never gonna have anything, I'll be damned if I'm gonna sit there and watch you have everything. And we both came from the same place. I'll be damned if I'm gonna sit next to you and you got everything and I got nothing. But dude, you was in the crew with me, in the clique with me. We both started out at the same point. I don't give a damn about that. Folks, this isn't Jason Black saying this today. If you saw The Godfather Part 2, I'm bringing you round and round with men of respect and street business. When you watch The Godfather Part 2, who did Michael Corleone have problems out of? His own brother Fredo, because Fredo had a big head and a small IQ. He had no street knowledge whatsoever. But jealousy does not require intelligence or IQ. Jealousy simply requires emotions. You can be the biggest damn dummy in the world and have emotions. And Fredo By the time it was over, when Michael called him out and he's like, damn it, I know you're the damn traitor. And when Fredo finally has to admit why you did this, Fredo told him, Dad gave everything to you. Everybody bows to you. Everybody respects you. That was supposed to come to me. I'm sick of people overlooking me and giving the respect that they should be giving to me. They're giving it to you. And I deserve respect. I'm smart. And I want some respect. So he wants something he hasn't earned. And his emotional immaturity demonstrates why he never earned it. And then you see ASAP Telly there on the stand. He's mad. He's angry. He wants respect. Hey, people have never respected my pen. They've never respected me as a part of the crew. They've never respected me. I'm smart. I'm smart. I'm good, and I want some respect, damn it. And that's what you got sitting next to you. He takes a look at his Instagram, can't even get 19,000 followers. He takes a look at you, 19 million. It's driving him insane. Your presence is driving him nuts. So hell yeah, the first chance he's got to take you down, the first time he thinks he's got a real solid opportunity to take you down, he's going for it. He's not asking any questions. He's not thinking. He has been dreaming and fantasizing and rubbing himself down. Oh, I'm going there. He has been rubbing himself down and fantasizing that one day you gonna get took down, so that he doesn't have to look up at you anymore. One day it's coming. One day I'm finally going to get to see you brought down to size. As he sits there with a female who ain't nowhere near as fly as Rihanna, his whole damn life is a reminder of how he is in no way on the level of ASAP Rocky. I'm not talking about ASAP Rocky tonight, people. I'm talking about power dynamics. Many of you have siblings, brothers, sisters. For the black females, if you turning out fly and it never really cracked off for your mama is your adversary. Your mama is your competition. Your mama is hating on you. I have a number of black females. It's just a common thing among black females that they wind up getting kicked out the house just as soon as she starts developing. And as soon as men start noticing, oh, you's a female, all of a sudden, mama turns evil. Mama turns spiteful. Mama can't stand to see you. You got brothers in the house. Mom is allowing them to be overgrown babies. But for you, she ain't got nothing but a belt for your backside and a foot up your ass. How the hell can that be? Because she is looking at the younger, fresher, prettier version of herself with all your possibilities laid out for you. All the chances and opportunities that she screwed up and screwed off and will never get to have again. When she looks at you, remind me, stop me if this sounds familiar. When she looks at you, she looks at you and she sees that which she cannot be. She looks at you and she sees the reminder of what she cannot have. She sees the person who's had all those opportunities for them and she's not eligible for it. She sees the person who she's hating on. Why can't that be me? Why isn't that me? That's not fair. It's not right. Heifer, you had your chance. So I got screwed over. You screwed yourself over. You chose to be up and lay up with people who couldn't do anything for you because you were on some petty, immature stuff. If your daughter did not make that mistake, she gets to fly free and you get to hold this L. They are looking at you and they cannot stand it. Because, stop me if this sounds familiar, your very presence in front of her offends her and is an insult to her. Your very presence is offensive. Just you being there is offensive. It's offensive just for you to be sitting there. That bothers her, just that you would be there. She's got to sit up and get up every morning and take a look at you. I don't give a damn if you're walking out of the bedroom wearing damn me a grocery store sack. She's gonna swear that you're walking through the hallways and sashaying your hips like you all that. So this is why so many black females today end up getting fat and obese, and they blame the men because they're too cowardly to blame the woman who did that to you. If your mama's on point, the daughter will be on point. Mama's messed up, daughter's messed up. Mama is a cowardly liar, daughter now becomes cowardly liar and is blaming everyone except the real problem. ASAP Rocky found out what it means to have haters around you, got nothing to lose. You sitting up here abiding by the street code. Let me tell y'all something. Haters ain't got no damn code. What? You can't do nothing with haters. Haters ain't got no code. Somebody who's hating on you, they ain't got no code. They're on a suicide mission. They're on a suicide run. They got no code. They don't stand for anything. The only thing they stand for is destroying you. That's what they stand for. They don't stand for nothing else. They don't have another principle. Let me tell y'all something. Listen to me very, very carefully. Haters will do without food and water if it means getting at you. Damn! I need you to understand just how deep hating goes. A hater will go without food and water to get at you. A hater will work overtime at their job. They won't do it to invest in their own ability to increase themselves. But if it makes your life harder or more difficult, a hater will do overtime. They'll do without food. They'll do without water. They'll do without holidays. They'll work overtime if it makes things tough on you. He has found a purpose and a reason if it makes things difficult on you. If it makes it hard on you. Recognize that that's how deep hating goes. You want to know why it is that the hater couldn't get their life together? It's because while you were focusing on your jump shot like Kobe, while you were focusing on your sprint, while you were focusing on your textbooks, while you were focusing on your IQ, while you were focusing on your productivity, he was focusing on why he hates you. And why it is that things are coming together for you and not coming together for him. It's like, dude, if you would commit this same energy towards your damn self, it would go differently. If you would devote some of this energy towards your damn self. And before tonight is over, we're going to get into a list of those things so that you all can have a clear understanding of exactly what it is that creates the hater, what it is that creates the rat. We're going to go over some rules for rats. Speaking of rats, Young Thug, boy, he was on trial for his life. Fanning the Mammy Willis, she was hoping she could get him. She was hoping she could get a win. That heifer can't kill nothing, can't find nothing dead. But she was hoping to hell that she could bag Young Thug. She was hoping that she could get him. They had him on trial for damn years. They were determined that, damn it, this will be a slam dunk. This will be a slam dunk. But she realized that Thug wasn't going to crack. While Thug is about that life. He's really about that business. She wasn't going to be able to get him to take a deal. She wasn't going to be able to get him to flip. She wasn't going to be able to get him to turn over. So she did what they always do. She's like, okay, you ain't going to flip, but there's got to be a weak nigga in your crew somewhere. There's always one weak. See, when you got a group of people around you, by definition, you've got points of vulnerability. When you have a group of people around you, by very definition, you've got points of vulnerability that somebody who is malicious can exploit. So they said, okay, you solid. Let's go see if we can find the weak link in the chain. Let's go see if we can find somebody who's going to talk. Now, Gunna, ain't this amazing? The so-called gangsters, he called himself Gunna. Yeah, Gunna snitch, Gunna tell, Gunna rat. That's what Gunna stands for. I'm gonna snitch. I'm gonna rat. I'm gonna tell. I'm gonna do it quick. I'm gonna flip. So they went and they leaned on him. They saw he was weak. They saw he was weak. They saw that he had no principles. They saw he's the one gonna do it. He gonna do it. So they leaned on him. They started threatening him, and he started talking. And to anybody who tries to sit up here and tell the lie that, well, what Gunna said didn't hurt Young Thug, people, why did the prosecution want him to, if what he was saying wasn't hurtful to Thug, why did the prosecutors want him to say it? Folks, if this wasn't helping the prosecution's case, then why did they want him to say it? Because they were bored? They didn't say it because they didn't think it would help their case. Why would they have insisted, hey, we'll cut a deal if you say this? Well, why do you want me to say that? Oh, it's not going to harm anybody. Well, if it's not going to harm anyone, why do you want me to say it? Aren't you prosecuting me? Have you decided you're going to stop prosecuting me? Sure. Oh, great. Drop the charges. We will, right after you sign and read this statement. Wait a minute. Well, if you want to let me go, why don't you just let me go? Why do you want me to read this statement and admit to these things you're saying? Why do you want me to do that if it ain't gonna harm anybody? Well, if it's not gonna harm anyone, it's not gonna help him either. So why do you want me to do this? Of course they're gonna use it. And of course he understood it. Well, it's not like I took the stand and accused Young Thug of doing something. No, you just said that me and Young Thug are part of a criminal enterprise. Slime Life is a criminal enterprise. That's all right there. Oh, Young Thug. Oh, you the leader of Slime Life. Your man flipped on you. Your man told on you. You think that came out of nowhere? Let me explain something to you. It is dangerous, people. It is dangerous for you to cast a large shadow. I want you to understand that. It is dangerous out here today for you to cast a long shadow. It's dangerous to do that. When you cast a shadow, when somebody else is standing in your shadow, in the case of Young Thug and Gunna is literally standing in Young Thug's shadow. You got to understand, when somebody is standing in your shadow, when he meets girls and the girls ask him about Thug and they talk about Thug and they're not asking about him, they're asking about Thug, please understand that drives him crazy. He's waiting on somebody to give him shine and to say that he's the boss. But understand something, you can't be the boss standing next to the boss. So you gonna see, after all this damn time, you've had an opportunity to knock the boss off. And let's be clear, Gunna didn't think that Thug was gonna make it through that trial. Damn! Gunna thought that he had sealed Thug's fate. I want y'all to understand how cowards in the street work. The way cowards in the street work is they figure they gonna flip on you and they gonna pull a Sammy Gravano against John Gotti. I'm gonna flip on you and nigga, you gonna be gone for good. I'm gonna flip on you, and when them folks get done with you, I ain't got to worry about you. You gonna be gone for good. So I don't have to worry about repercussions or consequences, because after I finish flipping on you, you're not gonna be in the picture anymore. You gonna be doing 20 years. You won't even be here. Now, y'all know how Gunna was. Y'all know how Gunna was feeling when he looked up and realized, I'll be damned, Thug done beat the case. They letting Thug go. And they're going to let him stay in Atlanta. Or at least do his business in Atlanta. I'll be damned. Oh, Thug. Y'all know how Gunna was. Hey, Thug. Glad to see you out, bruh. I knew you was going to make it. I knew it was going to be all right. I didn't think them folks was going to be able to get you. I knew you was going to make it, Thug. Y'all know that was him. Y'all know that's how he was. Yeah, bro. It's all right. No, right now, Gunna is living on borrowed time. He's hoping that Thug don't make a whole damn diss album. He's hoping that don't happen. Because I'm letting y'all know something right now. Right now, the streets is dead. But I see a situation and a circumstance whereby which the street code gonna resurrect itself. And here's the thing. It's not gonna be the mama's boys and sissified ass wannabe gangsters who are going to invoke the street code. The G's are all rats. It's the squares upholding the street code. Damn! That's what it is today. Today, all the gangsters are the rats. It's the square dudes upholding the street code. Thug, remember, Gunna ain't been to jail. Young Thug's lawyer, Michael Steele, he went to jail, remember? The judge put Thug's lawyer in jail because he wouldn't snitch and tell them how he knew that they were talking to Woody behind the defense attorney's backs. He wanted to know how you knew we were doing that. And Michael Steele said, I ain't gonna tell. I ain't gonna tell. And the judge said, you gonna tell or go to jail. I'll be damned. Thug and Michael Steele were in the same damn cell that night. They put Thug and his lawyer in the same cell that night. So let me get this straight. Your white lawyer, your white high-powered attorney is holding down the street code and ain't snitching and ain't telling the judge nothing. Meanwhile, Gunna, the fellow with the tattoos and the weird buck teeth, Gunna is sitting up here telling every damn thing they want to know and talking. This where we at today. So I predict the street code is going to have a resurrection at some point, but it's going to be the square dudes who insist on it because the street dudes are too damn raggedy. The only thing the street dudes had was that, well, if you break the street code, somebody gonna come and dust you off. Yeah, but the street dudes ain't moving like that no more. The square dudes are ready to do time, and the street dudes are trying to avoid time. Ain't that something? The square dudes are ready to do the time. The street dudes are all out here copping pleas, trying to figure out how to avoid time. This is where we at today. The other thing I want to say is, by the way, do you think Gunna just jumped up and said that out of nowhere? That's what I'm saying the whole damn time. Nobody wants to talk about this. Have you ever considered the possibility that Gunna was hating on Thug the whole damn time? Have you ever considered the possibility that Gunna was planning something like this the whole damn time? He was hoping for something like this the whole damn time, that you would finally be moved out of the way. The other thing is that Gunna was emboldened because Gunna is a part of them circles of rats. Individuals like Tekashi Snitch 9. You have these circles of rats out here that street dudes are sitting up here associating with rats and clowns and the sideshow entertainment. That's the issue. Street dudes are sitting up here associating with that. They're up here associating with that. That's the problem. Tekashi, for a minute, had everybody thinking that the world was okay with rats. He had folk thinking that for a minute. And the media was loving to play into that because, of course, they're part of the government establishment that wants to take everybody down. I'm telling you all, I'm like, okay, just hang in there for a minute and see how it washes out. Now, Tekashi's albums are flopping. The IRS has picked up all of Tekashi's stuff.
What?
For those of you who did not know, they're having a whole damn auction. They're having an auction for Tekashi's stuff. They're having an auction for that. The IRS went and picked up his cars. They picked up his plaques. They picked up all of that. They picked up all of that. Jason, are you sure? I'm absolutely sure. I am certain. They went and picked up every damn thing. It is currently on sale. I'm talking about they took everything but its drawers. I guess they're trying to figure out how much they could get for that. Jason, are you sure? I'm absolutely sure. Well, Jason, prove it. For those of you who hadn't seen it, right there. There's the auction. There's the auction right there. His Bruce chain. Now, the auction hasn't taken place yet. It's still 4 more days. It's 4 more days until the actual auction happens. But his Cuban links, them crazy gold enamel teeth. Somebody bidding $29,000 for a diamond chain named for his girlfriend.
What?
Who are these weirdos? He has a jigsaw pendant. I mean, take a look here. Men's diamond ring. His Rolex. Now, please tell me why the estimated value is $6,000 to $8,000 and folks are bidding $12,000. I know the used market's stupid. That's a good one. He's got the right ring next to the Rolex for what they're trying to bid for it. Stupid. That's exactly the word. Got a blue face Rolex. Yeah, y'all, for those of you who didn't know. Yeah, this is Tekashi 6ix9ine's life. The feds came. They grabbed every damn thing. They grabbed every damn thing. Oh, the Hermes bag.
What?
Hit the Hermes bag for his girlfriend. They came and grabbed that. They said, we'll get that. Louis Vuitton, Givenchy, and insult to insults, they grabbed his record plaques. Oh man, they grabbed the record plaques. Yes, sir, for Stupid, which is his life story. Oh, the plaque for Gummo. They got his plaques for Gummo. They have grabbed his plaques and are going out to go sell them. The IRS has grabbed his plaques and said, you know what? We're going to make more money off of this than you making right now. They grabbed his record plaques, people. They grabbed his record plaques. They're currently on sale. We might mess around and look up and one of y'all have it.
Nigga, please.
I'm just saying. We could look up here in a week and one of y'all owns Tekashi 6ix9ine's record plaques. It could happen. Welcome to the American dream. Help Tekashi 6ix9ine pay off some of his tax debt. But his girlfriends who are out there in the damn street fighting over Balenciaga and Louis Vuitton and Hermes. By the way, he went out and bought the handbags and ultimately ended up in the hands of the damn IRS. Ended up in the hands of the IRS. You want to know why it is that some of these cats out here thought that they could move all kinds of crazy and whatnot like that? It's because they were looking around and they thought to themselves, well, Tekashi been doing it. So they've been telling themselves that all this little snitching stuff is cool and that's the wave and that's the way to go. But I'm letting you know that that's not just bad news, it's bad business and it's dangerous. Most of you are trying to make something of your lives. Most of you are trying to make something of your lives in a crooked system, in a nation that is in decline, and things are all screwed up. And I want you to understand, with all those headwinds in front of you, you got a bunch of folk out here who their prospects are not improving, and they're looking to get at you. Over time, they have stopped blaming their parents. They've stopped blaming the government. They're blaming anybody who's doing better than them, even if that somebody is you. You have to beware people who are always saying them folks over there cheated and they ain't doing it the right way and this, that, and the other, but for somebody who ain't never had any wins. Beware that kind of thing. So what I want to do for you all right now is I want to give y'all some rules for rats. I want to give y'all some rat rules. We're going to go over some rat rules. For those of you, if you didn't have a father in your life, you didn't have solid people in your life, you didn't have folks around you who were solid in your life, let me go ahead and give you the rat rules so that you understand how this works. Because if some of you start looking at what I'm about to tell you and you start really analyzing it, y'all got to be careful, because some of the stuff I'm going to say here tonight is going to offend a lot of people, because you're going to start hearing a lot of parallels to folks in your life, and it's going to start making sense to you when I say this. You're going to start seeing similarities when you start analyzing their character against what I'm about to say here. You going to start recognizing, damn, Jason, I think you're on to something. Damn, is it really that bad? It sure is. First and foremost, let's talk about the street rules. I want everybody to listen to this in turn. Everybody. Rat rules. Rat rule number 1. Are you talking to somebody who would call the police?
What?
Damn!
And deal with it.
Rat rule number 1. That's rat rule number 1. If you are dealing with somebody who will call the police, call the government, if you understand something, you in trouble. Please understand that. Let me explain to you why the mafia works the way that it does, why the mafia stood for as long as it did until people started calling the damn feds. What they understood was that if you're a person who calls the police, calls the people, calls the law, it doesn't matter why you did it. You calling them folk today on that guy over there. Tomorrow, you'll be calling them on me. So it is essential that you keep folk like that from around you. I said it to the fellas in here. Y'all ask about chicks' body counts. You need to ask about the copper count. What? Please understand that. She's letting you know that if things don't go her way, you're supposed to be worried about calling the authorities, worried about calling the government, worried about calling the law, because hey, if they're grabbing, you're dealing with somebody like that, they're like, oh, they're going to crash out. Please understand that that's not minor. A lot of you fellas in here, y'all have drama with baby mamas or ex-wives. Dude, you knew she calls police on folk before you married her. You knew that before you married her. You thought that was going to stop just because you're here? When these fellas, she won't let me see the kids and won't let me do that. Dude, you knew what was up. You knew what was up. You knew that's what it was. So there's your first rule right there. Yeah, I said it. I said it in front of everybody here. I don't give a damn what it is. Just please understand, if you rock with somebody like that and you roll the dice, please understand, today you congratulating them. Tomorrow, if they start hating on you, they're going to be like, okay, if I can't get at you, let me go make up a story and see if I can get somebody else who can, because by definition, rats are cowards. Next up, people who don't repay their debts. There's a whole bunch of y'all right now. You need to understand that your debts are your word. You dealing with somebody who owes folk money, somebody who owes people. No, your sheet's supposed to always be clean. You ain't never supposed to have a deficit. Your word is supposed to be law. You running around owing people? Oh, no. You're not solid. Once again, just like my first rule, if you owe them folk over there, I can't fool with you because you're just going to end up owing me. That is not a temporary mistake you've made. That is your character, or should I say lack thereof. So when you're dealing with somebody who's always owing people, they never repay their debts. Folks are always chasing them for money. They always got a damn sob story. I'm bringing this into contrast for you because now Gunna got a sob story. Well, you know, them people was on me and they were rough on me, man. They would hold me up. It's like, nigga, nah, you supposed to be 10 toes down. You supposed to be 10 toes down. Whatever occurs, whatever it is. Somebody said, what if it's your blood brother? Brother family is who you choose. If your blood brother is a rat, you need to be aware of that. And you need to move accordingly. If your blood brother demonstrates these traits that I'm showing you, I'm just letting you know what it is. If you want to put yourself at risk and you want to absorb that liability, oh, well, you're going to take it as it comes. I'm just reading the mail. That's all I'm doing. I'm just reading the mail. Next up, another rule for rats, people who don't express gratitude. That's when you start seeing the hater gene. That's one of the major tells of a hater gene, that maybe they used to, they don't mind giving you compliments, but they do mind showing gratitude. Because you see, in their heart, they feel like you and them are equals. And that the only injustice is that you and they are not being treated as equals. But the problem isn't that they're not good enough. So why should I show you gratitude, nigga? Even if you, back to the second one I just gave you, even if you give them money when they need it, they're not grateful. You gave them money when they were flat on their ass. They're not grateful that you did that. They're not grateful. They're not. They're not happy at all. They're not grateful to you. They're resentful. The fact that you were able to help them, once again, you're showing how much bigger than them you are. Even if they needed it, please remember, they're taking those two interactions as two separate things. They are taking those two interactions as two separate things. The fact that they need something and the fact that you provided it, they see those as two separate things. In their minds, they've segregated those two things. So that's how you can do something for them and they're not grateful that you did it for them. Hey, I did something you needed. In their minds, they've separated the fact that they needed it from who it was who did it. They already don't like you. They already hate on you. They already don't respect you. They're already mad because you've done what they haven't been able to do. So nothing you do improves your status in their eyes because they're already hating on you. Next up is people who don't admit that they're wrong. You see, understand something. Admitting error to some people is a sign of defeat or submission. Contrition to some people is a sign of submission. I've always taught you all that a person who will not admit they're wrong is not annoying. A person who will not admit they are wrong is dangerous. So you have to be extra careful when you're dealing with somebody who will not admit they're wrong. To the ladies in here listening, you want to know why it is that more men today are not willing to get married and y'all are ending up with the dummies and the lames? It's because when men see that you will not admit that you're wrong, why are you holding out so hard when you're in error? That's not annoying. That's dangerous. You have this woman sleeping next to you in your bed, and she will not admit when she is in error. She sees that as a defeat. Well, this is a person who sees themselves as playing against you. So you sitting there talking about you putting the roof over folks' heads and you putting food on the table. I'm like, dude, take a look at her attitude. She's playing against you. Yeah, all this stuff you doing, she's like, eh. I'm here to defeat you. All this other stuff is irrelevant. It's not related. I'm here to beat you. So when a person will not admit that they're wrong and that they're in error, they're just not going to say that. They want to act as if nothing happened. Please, people, the reason why acknowledging that you're in error is important is because that's the only line of demarcation that demonstrates that you understand that something was wrong. If a person refuses to admit an error, what they're saying is that they are leaving themselves the open option to repeat it. They are giving themselves permission to do this all over again. That the only, quote, mistake was that things didn't turn out the way they wanted it to. But other than that, there was no error. Nothing went wrong. Nothing bad. So the first thing is, did they admit that they were in the wrong? So you have somebody who has made an obvious mistake, and at no time have they acknowledged that they made a mistake or that it wasn't a mistake and they did something wrong. At no point did they do that. Understand, well, then he hasn't made the turn. He's leaving himself the option of doing this again in the future. That's why it matters. It is not simply some symbolic gesture. It is a demonstration that you recognize that this is the wrong road and we should not repeat it. Or if you repeat it again, you know exactly what you're doing. Next up, people who want to get awards for being mediocre. Oh, there's a big one. People who want to get a pat on the back for small stuff. They want to get a pat on the back for doing their routine work, not for doing anything extraordinary. They want to get awards and trophies and pats on the back and weeks off work, damn days off, weeks off, for being mediocre. Yet another reason why a lot of females today are going to be by themselves, and then again a lot of fellas too, but especially with the ladies here. Ladies, take a look at the work your grandmama did and your great-grandmama did. If you're not working harder than her, how the hell is it you're eligible for greater rewards than she received? Nigga, please. This is where we at today. This is where we at today. This is where we are today. Folks want to sit up here and get awards for things that they did not do. They want to get awards for being mediocre. They want to get awards and salutations and an applause for being average. Okay, but did you ask yourself about what happens if they don't get it? If they don't get it, now they're a hater, and haters are rats. Haters are rats. When you have somebody who is determined to get props for being mediocre, they're not actually able to keep up with the leaders, but they want leaders awards. Ladies, if you're not outperforming your grandmama, you're not extraordinary. This is one of the reasons why, by the way, let me go ahead and put that in its proper context. I don't want to just leave that dangling. I'm not going to just leave that dangling. I want you to understand something. Most females today are straight up Toyota thoughts. What? That's it, baby. That's where you at. Y'all Hyundai hoes. Damn. There's so many females in here today. She thinks she a Bentley babe. No, dear, you is a Hyundai hoe. That's your lane. That's where you at. You and them 3 bastard kids and all that student loan debt you got and that size 16 waist you carry around. You are a Hyundai hoe. That's you right there. Yes, you're fantasizing about the 6 and 7 figure women who are way out of your league. Use a Hyundai hoe. That's you. Right there. And this is the reason why married folk can't speak. Oh, I gotta beat up on y'all for just a minute. I gotta put this in its proper perspective. The reason why we can't take advice from the married folk here today, and they keep trying to jump in the chat on me, is like, no, I ain't trying to have that, because you're out of touch. It is what it is. Let me explain something to you, an empirical reality here. You have no idea what the mindset of women is today. If you got married 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, you have absolutely no idea what the mindset of the females is like out here today. 30 years ago, a female would have been fine. 30 years ago, she would have been absolutely fine with a guy who drives a Buick or a Jeep. She would have been perfectly fine with him. An entry-level car, she'd have been great. Not today. People are trying to talk to you about standards that were acceptable 20 years ago and 30 years ago as if they're still acceptable now. You're trying to project those standards into 2025. Let me explain something to y'all. As far as women today are concerned, if you drive a Toyota, you are basically a pedestrian.
And deal with it, nigga.
To the men listening to me, we gotta call it for what it is. I'm talking about folks wanting awards for being mediocre. You got the chick who's a size 14, doesn't know how to do her hair, ain't nothing fly about her, and she's looking at you. If you drive a Toyota, but as far as she's concerned, you're basically a pedestrian. You're sitting here talking about how fuel economy and efficient. And she's like, okay, you're basically walking, as far as she's concerned. And the reason is because a Toyota does not make an impression on her. She knows where Toyota falls in the hierarchy, and it's not at the top. So just that quickly, she's letting you know, by the way, you're a pedestrian. You're not going to get that same level of respect because she's telling herself that she is a star. And a star doesn't roll with Toyota like that, even if she is driving a Hyundai that's 10 years older than yours. Even if it's 10 years older than yours. That's important. That's important. Oh, I just woke up a lot of fellas in here tonight. Some of the fellas are like, damn, Jason, really? Oh, yeah. If you pushing a Toyota as far as the females today, 30 years ago, you were the man. Today? Oh, you're a pedestrian, basically. Because she's looking for her come up because she's mediocre and she's like, I'm not mediocre and everything about her is mediocre. Okay. But she wants to get an award. Next up, I want to talk about people who don't keep their word. Now, that is a big one. That is a huge one. And that's an essential one. People who don't keep their word. People who don't do what they say and don't keep their word. That's a critical one. What I have noticed is that the attitude that a lot of people have is that they're willing to sit there and break bread for somebody who breaks their word, telling themselves, well, that's between them folk over there. Okay, you're gambling with your life. You're gambling with your life right there. You ain't supposed to fool with somebody whose word is no good. When you know that their word is no good in the damn streets, you're supposed to be way ahead of the damn game. You're not supposed to be sitting there next to somebody whose word is no good. You are not supposed to be sitting next to somebody whose word is no good. You're not supposed to be opening yourself up to somebody whose word is worthless. And we have a whole bunch of folk who operate that way. There's a whole bunch of fellas here right now. This is why they don't ask any questions. Weak males sit up and they're so desperate to get some sexual access that they don't even ask any questions. They don't ask any questions. She sits up. Fellas ask about body count. I don't ever hear men quizzing a woman about whether or not you've ever lied to a man before. Damn! To the men listening here, let me tell y'all where most of y'all are deficient at. Fellas will sit up here and quiz the chick about body count. He'll quiz the chick about student loan debt. I noticed that fellas don't quiz females about whether or not she's a liar. Hey, baby, has a man ever called you the words pathological liar? Has a man ever said that to you? Has a man ever accused you of stabbing him in the back? Has a man ever accused you of lying? And I'm not saying you asked that once. I'm saying you asked that multiple times. Males today don't ask that. They don't ask that. In the chat room, Hakeem, what are you referring to? Let me go ahead and throw the Zoom up here right quick. Hakeem, what is a dumb question? I want to find that out right quick. So let me get Hakeem to tell us what is a stupid question. You need to have background on the folk you have around you, especially if they have close access to you. If someone has close access to you and close proximity to you, you're supposed to have the whole paperwork check. But one of those, part of the paperwork check is an integrity check. You're supposed to know if the female you're talking to has a habit of lying, a record of lying. That's not going to go away just because she with you. It's just going to be your turn to get lied to. It's not going to go away because she's with you. It's just now going to be your turn to get lied to. Did you do any checking or any vetting to see, by the way, hey, baby, what's your track record on lying to dudes? What is your track record of keeping your word? What is your track record of being solid and principled? In other words, how good are you at people trusting you? Do you have a track record of being trustworthy? Do you have a track record of being trusted? Or do you have a track record of people saying, hey, you ain't trustworthy? You're not good for that. I see a bunch of sophomoric questions in here. I see a lot of sophomoric questions. Critical thinking is critical, but it's not common. That's the issue. Critical thinking is critical, but it's not common. Shout out to Black Powder Podcast. He's giving out some free memberships here. Appreciate that. The gift that keeps on giving. The gift that keeps on giving. Okay, here on Zoom, I've got a Chiaka here on Zoom. You need to turn on your camera and your microphone for us here. Just make sure we don't have any trolling issues. I'll give you 5 seconds to get that up for us here, or permanent vacation, but just make sure we don't have any trolling issues. We need to make sure of that. Okay, there you go. He looks like he's at a central casting there. Turn your microphone on for us. If you can find your microphone, turn it on.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right, I talked to you before a couple years back, but
okay, years back my ass. What's your name?
Yeah, it's Big Shock the God, Chiaki and Duka is the government, but
okay, well what I'm saying is, okay, you're not Hakeem?
No, who's Hakeem?
Okay, well, go ahead. We waiting on him to call up, but go ahead.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to say, man, you talking on a high level game. You sound like an '80s baby, and this generation. I think the lack of physical contact and interaction in person has caused them to malfunction on a high level. When you talk about all these warning signs you're seeing from females, you got to understand these guys' lack of actual physical interaction has deprived them to a point to where they're willing to do outrageous things just for basic exchanges. So when you're talking to these younger folks, it's like you got to kind of like add a little water to the lemonade to kind of dumb it down for them, because the things we went through, I was born in '81, so the things we went through was very tactile. We had to go through a lot of pains. We all got our ass kicked on the playground. These things has happened to these people virtually. So basic social interaction for the basic young male is totally different from females because they get approached so often. They've had more experience. So these young guys really are living through the game you've given, and I appreciate you breaking it down the way you breaking it down.
Well,
man.
I mean, you're certainly right. There's we created a virtual environment. I was watching a television show yesterday that was showing, it was not a TV show because I don't own the TV, but it was online. I was watching this video, and it showed kids up at an arcade. I'm like, dude, have we had arcades in 20 years? I can understand it as a historical anecdote, but it's not a place that exists. Then I got to thinking about it. When we were growing up, we had arcades and things like that to go to. What do the kids today have? Have you driven by a park? Where are the kids? Have you driven by the places where they would usually interact with each other? Where are they at? If they don't interact with each other at school, they don't do it at all. It's just not happening. They may run into some weirdo, on social media, but that's it. As far as in the real world as a physical being, no, they've been completely insulated from that. And there's a whole lot that goes into that. With face-to-face interaction, you get to look at people in the eyes. You get to see body language. There are a whole bunch of things you can learn, both positive and negative, from physical interaction that you can't get in a DM. You got folks who their whole social circles are being built in DMs, being built by text. Well, no wonder you don't have any animal senses about snitches, hoes, liars, backstabbers. No wonder you don't have it. Because your interactions, you're going to find out what they're about when you finally meet them.
You know what's funny? You are forced to deal with these things in reality. So what that does is it builds character. And as you become a man of a certain age and a certain grade, that character is attractive to the females you were seeking at a young age that you didn't have the character to attract. And so the lack of this experience builds a lack of character. And I don't know, it's the technology we've gotten too smart for our own good. Guys got to force themselves to put themselves in an uncomfortable situation.
Well, I mean, that's the whole point that you're making right there. That's character. Character is not developed by positive situations. Character is developed by negative ones.
Facts.
A soft life of no adversity does not build character. Character is built through negativity.
Like I said, all us 80s babies got our ass kicked on the playground for saying the wrong thing at a certain point. And they gave us social awareness. And that's what this generation is lacking on a major level. So that lack of social awareness doesn't have them understand the fact that they got to deal with the female that actually enjoys their company. They're chasing the image instead of dealing with the women that's in their lane. Everybody want to be in the lane that they don't belong in instead of accepting and enjoying the lane that they were born in. So folks don't understand that these days.
You're okay, brother. You're talking sense, but you're asking too much. Think about what you just said there for a moment. I want y'all to please understand this, because this new world of technology and things has actually created a new paradigm. You said they gotta get used to being in the lane. What you say is settle for where they are, brother. Please understand this. I want the world to get this today. When you say settling today, what you're saying is you should just get used to struggling.
What?
That's what you're saying. Now that's not the way you said it, but that's what it means to be mediocre, average, settling. If you live in a large city, if you live in a large city, let's just like for example in New York, all the nice stuff is gonna cost you. If you're in your lane, you have a world that's behind glass. You can see it, but you can't touch it. Brother, you're asking them to accept a death sentence. To be basic today means to miss out on 90% of what's out there.
But that's the thing, right? And I make more than like 80% of Americans easily. But the image that a lot of these people are chasing is the image of millionaires. It's actually unattainable to be sustainable. So I understand that I'm asking a lot because these people are not in touch with actual reality. But if you're a person that owns a house, owns your vehicles, have children to raise, To chase these silly things that people are chasing there's no benefit to it. But I know you have to go through some
brother,
things to get to that level. You feel what I'm saying? I'm not expecting that from
incorrect,
folks.
brother. Incorrect. Incorrect, brother. And what you're saying from a altruistic, look it up, from a very neutral standpoint, what you're saying makes sense from a basic philosophical standpoint. That ain't real. Take it from someone who been there. Brother, you cannot compare a Bentley to a Buick. You just there's no comparison between these two things. One of them is like driving a vacation every day. The other one is like driving your ex-wife. You know, so it's what I'm saying is that's out there. Now that it's wait, but now that it's out there, you can't put the genie back in the bottle. That is a real thing. It is really accessible, and you either get it or you don't. You either got it or you don't.
Do you deserve a Bentley? If you deserve a Bentley, my guy, I appreciate you deserving a Bentley.
What determines that you, quote, deserve anything in life?
The deserving is your functionality and what you can earn as a man. So if you can earn a Bentley, my guy, get your Bentley.
Now that's your definition. That's your definition. Your definition is deserve as if you can earn it. You do understand, but you do understand that those are two separate things.
Absolutely. But what I want to understand is a lot of these folks try to separate the two things, and that gives envy. So if you haven't earned it, you do not deserve it.
Well, we teach girls from the age of 10 that they deserve things because you is pretty and you is cute and you is smart.
I got 3 daughters, my brother, and I absolutely do not do that. And I understand that the majority of us do. I know the world at large does, and that's a major issue. I got 3 daughters. I don't do that. I'm very realistic to them. Luckily, they take after my mannerisms. So I know that's going to be a blessing to 3 young men one day. But I understand that is not the real situation out here. So don't get it twisted. I get where you're coming from.
But with the majority of them, I'm glad you're not doing that. But for the majority of them, with the idea that the definition of deserve is manifest.
Just being here.
So in other words, if you deserve it because you want it.
Right.
Now, that's the definition that the world's operating on today.
Absolutely.
I
agree.
So the nicest, they are eligible, not just eligible, they are deserving of the nicest out there because she's breathing and she wants it. With no relation to whether or not she has commensurate value to whatever this is that she wants. I see it, I want it, and I deserve it because I want it.
Big ankle women, fat and hefty, terrible attitude, don't matter. They think they deserve it just because they want it, so they should get it. It's ridiculous. I understand that. And it's like, I think that's why God gave me 3 daughters, just to give three young men a good opportunity to see somebody realistic. And I pray to God that the world don't get them. They realistic right now. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy, bro. I ain't even gonna lie to you. I understand your whole view.
And basically, with the way it is now, if you're producing, they have access to it from a very early age. They don't have objectivity. It used to be you just had to worry about the women in your family being an influence. Now, Nicki Minaj and Cardi B. And here's the craziest thing. Your daughters today are being influenced by literally hundreds of social media influencers you and I don't even know exist. We don't even know who it is. That do yourself, if you all want to hurt your own feelings and shock yourselves, go to your niece's cell phone or your daughter's cell phone and tell them pull up their TikTok and see who they're subscribed to. It's going to be a bunch of people you never heard of, but this is what they're ingesting on a daily basis. And you don't even know we just know the biggest names on YouTube. It's a bunch of people we never even heard. It was like, who the hell is this? And got 2 million followers.
I haven't given my daughters access to social media. I got that Google lock on the phone. I got to approve every app. So, even though, they know who these people are, I try to not have them absorbed with that to have them feel as though that this is what they need to be searching to be. So, they got natural hair. My wife got natural hair. I made sure that when we started having children, I laid that down from the door. And, even though we got bread, I don't just shower them with whatever they want. They always presentable, but they're never going to just get things. They got to strive. So, man, you try your best out here to give them what you can give them to be successful, even though we come from a rough upbringing, but you just, give them the best opportunity they can have, and your presence is the most important thing in the young woman's life. A lot of these women don't have fathers because their mothers didn't choose well. You understand what I'm saying? So,
well, yeah, I mean, it's raggedy. There were no standards. Mama's just having kids. She's not having a family. There is no man in a leadership position. Then the daughter gets grown, and now she wants a man in a leadership position, and she's never experienced it or seen it. And most of all,
be able to tolerate it. Can't tolerate it if she's given it at this point, just from never seeing it or experiencing it.
Yeah, she's going to be too rebellious. She's going to be too rebellious.
Absolutely.
She's looking to run her. She watched a woman run her own thing, even if that woman ran it into the damn ground, which is what usually happens. Now she just wants to be in charge, regardless if she runs the ship ashore. I want to run it. Not I want to get to my destination. That's a dangerous thing. Men have to be careful
into the wall.
That. Yeah, there's so many fellas out here who get a female with them. She doesn't want to get to a destination. She just wants to be in charge, and that's never going to work. A car has one steering wheel for a reason. It doesn't have two steering wheels. It's got one. The other thing is when you have daughters who, if they're supposed to be afraid to disappoint their father. A daughter is the reason why your daughter ain't supposed to have a bunch of bastard kids is because she's supposed to be afraid of shaming you. The thought in her mind is supposed to be, wait a minute, I can't do that. My dad would be ashamed of me. I can't have that. I don't give a damn how fine the fella is. My dad's vision of me and perspective of me, that means more than anything. That does not. That's the safest form of being a daddy's girl. Not some of this other stuff that happens, but yeah, I'm not going to sit up here and do stupid stuff because that'll shame my dad, and I don't want to do that to him. Brother, you got girls today don't give a damn about shaming y'all. I mean, don't give a damn what it does to you. She carrying the kids by some dude in and out the joint, in and out of drugs, and don't care what that does to the father at all.
But you got to realize they got to put that time in though, bro. Like my kids were never in daycare. Their mom didn't work till they got to kindergarten. I was the only one working. We both nurses. I was doing doubles every day. You feel what I'm saying? But the system ain't raised my kids though. They mama raised them, and I raised them. You feel what I'm saying? So when they got to a certain age, mom went back to school. You feel what I'm saying? So we've been thugging it. It was rough in the first 5 to 8 years. It was hard. We had them all back to back, but it's paying dividends now because we see the difference because they was under our hand the whole time instead of under the hand of a stranger. You see what I'm saying? This is systematic raising of these children that's ruining them.
Yeah, I mean, the worst aspect is to be your daughter's friend or not there at all. Those are the two worst things. Either you're not there or you trying to be her friend, which essentially you might as well not be there. Because her job is not to like you. Her job is to respect you, not to like you. And when you make it your goal to be liked and parenting becomes a popularity contest, now we're in trouble.
Yeah, I'm a fair father, but they supposed to straighten up every time you enter the room. You feel what I'm saying? If you was a man and a father of the house, if you come in the room and they not just straightening up, you feel what I'm saying? Even though I'm not a dictator, but they still straighten up when I come through. And that's just a sign of respect and the fact that they've been under my hand the whole time.
Okay, but there's a reason for that. Now, I want you all to understand what the logical, practical purpose and reason of that is. You are the man of that house. You are the leader, the masculine leader in that home, period. I'm not saying there's a feminine leader. I'm saying you're the masculine authority in that home. That means you serve two purposes. You are chief protector and provider. Your job is how you provide. You are how you protect. But there is an asterisk. By protection, that means that you got to stand in front of bullets for them. If somebody's trying to harm your daughters in your presence, it ain't happening. Except over your dead body, and you mean that literally, over my dead body. You're not gonna a man is not gonna stand in front of bullets for people who are not under his authority.
That's a fact.
If your daughter is in rebellion against you, you're not standing in front of bullets for her, or at least it's gonna be very difficult to do so. I'm not gonna say you won't do it, but it's just become very, very difficult to do so. Your job as the father is you're the male authority in her life now. You're supposed to be preparing her to hand her off to another male that you've approved of, who he will now be the chief protector and provider. But the difference is he didn't give birth to her. So some of the things that you're obligated to do because that's your genetics, he's not going to be the same way. She doesn't straighten up when he comes in the room. She doesn't show that deference to him that she showed to you. He will not stand in front of bullets for her. Mm-hmm. And you, as a man, understand we will not do that. So that's why you tight running the ship you are now, so that she'll be ready when she gets in that position and it will be seamless. As that's opposed to these other chicks who they get in the position and fumble the ball right at the gate.
And when I politic with my brothers about our parents and philosophy, I always try to break down to them, because it's not about you slam dunking on your kids and proving you right all the time. It's about you putting them in a position to be able to rationalize and make that decision when you're not around. So when you giving them the rationalization of their whole life, when they're not around you, you become that voice in their mind that's giving them the game. So my whole thing is, I'm just training you for life. I got you for a short time. So watching my children develop and having them in my presence the whole time, you realize you don't have this for a long time. So what I have to do is make things simple and make things understandable to them, so it's translatable to them and they don't just resent the messenger. You can give a kid a right message, but give it to them in the wrong way to where it's not palatable, and then you've not completed your job. You see what I'm saying? So my whole focus has been to be fair and just give everybody the rationale behind the discipline, so they can understand where I'm coming from and not just do it because I said it. Because that's not really relatable. Our parents tried that shit don't work, so that's not what we do. So always just try to make folks understand it's not about right now. You're training them to be independent individuals in life. And my whole mission, all my daughters is on honor roll. That's all great. They're gonna whatever. But I need them to be married with husbands and children, and to give me grandchildren, and to progress the lineage and to raise stable households moving forward. That's the main objective.
I agree. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight, brother. We appreciate that. Let me go ahead and see if I can get Robert here on Zoom. Okay, we got Robert here on Zoom. Robert, what's on your mind?
Man, one of the greatest master teachers in the history of our lineage, and our anchor man of the New Black Media, TVA. I just wanted to start off by saying that, yo, as always, TVA, you hitting home run after home run tonight, man. I just been enjoying this broadcast, and just from the Godfather references, man, with Fredo and all. That's my favorite movie of all time. I had to watch The Godfather 1 and 2 at least 25, 30 times in my life. But yeah, man, and about like these rats and things of this nature, like once upon a time ago, TVA, like, you know, I ain't gonna sit here and you know, bore the listening, you know, audience with my stories, but yeah, in these Baltimore streets, TVA, like once upon a time ago, man, like I was raised by some cold-blooded gangsters, and like the first rule that the first thing they told me, like, there's 2 rules. Rule number 1, you can't ever tell on nobody for no reason at no time about anything. And rule number 2, there are no more rules. That's what they told me, man. And we never let go of the rules. And like, I be looking at this stuff now, you know, in my older days, like dudes like Gunna and Woody and all these young bucks, man. Tekashi, his clown ass, like, it's like a bizarro world, man. Like, it's just, yeah.
Well, you know, some of the stuff you said there, I want to give an opportunity for folks to think about the dichotomy of that. For example, and I brought this up before, when you take a look at the difference between a male prison and a female prison, it's a whole different dynamic. Whole different dynamic. Case in point, you can't be a pedophile at a male prison. You can't be a man who's had sex with underage boys or underage girls at a man's prison. You just can't be.
Yeah.
Okay, that doesn't happen in female prisons.
That's real tough.
At a female prison, you can be a pedophile. You can be a child molester. At a female prison, you can be anything. A child killer. You can be a pedophile, child molester, baby killer. And the women sitting there in the damn chow hall sitting next to you eating.
Yeah.
Something that among men couldn't even happen on the street.
Right.
And women will do that without thinking. Unless there is a strong male authority leadership. But when the women are left to their own, ladies, I'm just reading the mail. Y'all know it's the truth. Left to themselves? No. She'll sit right there. The women don't have that code among each other that the men do. So that's how when you have boys who are raised by nothing but women, I'm telling you what the code's going to be.
Yeah. And you know what, TBA? It's like in every walk of life, you can see how rats are. Let's see what the reason that rats are so disdained by real men is because they traitors. You understand what I'm saying? Like when you go into the religious realm, you got the name Judas. When you go into like the government realm, you got like the name like
Benedict Arnold.
Okay, look, man, TBA, man, you stay hitting home runs. You already know what it is. So yeah, Benedict Arnold, and it's like it's like because they betrayed the trust that you was willing to trust your life with, and they they swore that they would never let go of the rules, and they did that. You know what I mean? So that's what made them live on in infamy as a bad thing for such a betrayal. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, you as always, man, incredible broadcast, man. I enjoy. Let me say this, and then I'm gonna run TBA because I know a lot of other people. That's almost like because I live in Baltimore, born and raised here, and I used to actually TBA. I used to go down to DC. It's 45 minutes down the street. I used to march with Al Sharpton and all them Dick Gregory, all like Jesse Jackson, like real talk, like back in the 90s and the early 2000s. Because to be honest with you, I just didn't really know no better. I just wanted to stand for my black people. And, I had no clue who the new black media was. But it's like, you know what I mean? When I found y'all, you know what I mean? You, Flex, Professor Black Truth, the new black media, it was like, I started looking at them like, almost like traitors. I ain't gonna go as far as to call them a rat, but you know what I mean? Even though Al Sharpton is a alleged one, but.
Well, it's good to have folks be able to get together and talk amongst themselves, but as a two-way conversation, because that's the part that's new. It has always been a conversation going on, but when you read a magazine, that's one-way conversation. When you watch a television show, that's one way. Now you actually have the ability to do some feedback. You have the ability to talk back and forth, and what you realize, it's like, yeah, these folks ain't really representing you. And hopefully you have an opportunity to take a look at that, not just on TV, but in the real world too. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. We appreciate that. Let me go ahead and see if I can jump back over here again. I think I got my man Dan from Chicago up here. Let me see if I can get Dan up here. Right quick. All right, we got Dan up on the flex here. What's on your mind, Dan?
Brother, what's going on? Now, brother, I'm actually out in public right now. A nigga had to scroll myself in the bathroom for a second. A nigga up here playing some poker, and you came up on the on the algorithm. I had to go and tune in and check it out. But I could afford to take that break anyway. I'm up anyway. But I kind of figured he was gonna do this program anyway because I was paying attention to the ASAP Rocky case and of course I saw the Young Thug and the Gunna case. But a lot what you saying so far is like how to spot a hater and how you can tell the potential. I hate using the word potential, but that's just what it is.
They're eventually going to show themselves. I mean, they're eventually going to, because hating is a character trait. So if you watch the signs, eventually they're going to move on it. If you see these signs, I'm just letting you know, if you see these signs, don't ask if they're a hater. If you see these signs, eventually they're going to make that move. They're going to have to.
Oh, facts, because that's something I learned as a small child. But it's a few things that you left out too. I would like to add on to that too. I think if any man is dealing with a woman, he need to ask her, have your mother ever called the police on the sons or on the daughters too? Or have or have that woman he's dealing with put her brothers in a bad situation when she, you know what I'm saying, when she flipped, because it's a lot of situations.
Yeah, has she instigated something?
Yeah.
Watch.
Yeah,
I'm glad you mentioned that, Dan. A major red flag for men in particular, watch out. People, period, but men in particular, watch out for females who like watching fight videos.
What?
I think that's a major red flag. If your chick likes watching fight videos, your chick likes some mess going on. And don't be surprised when she starts instigating conflict in the real world.
Now, you know, I had to bring this up because it's a lot. Listen, it's a lot of brothers and sisters too who had the police called on them by their own relatives. Some cases, their own mamas. I'm just gonna have to call it for what it is. I don't want to say that, but that is the uncomfortable truth. You know what I'm saying? And it's a lot of. And I'm gonna tell you something else. Something else you have to learn too. I think most black folks, we already know this too. We already know that certain family members, practically a lot of, you better not trust them with no couple dollars neither. You better not trust them with no couple dollars. You better not tell them how much is in your bank account, what you're doing and how you're doing it. Keep that conversation at a bare minimum. You know, so I had to really call in because you know, lately I've been watching all your stuff like from on the business and the Black channel. I haven't been called in like that. You know what I'm saying? But I know I really had to make my what's name call in. So, but it's very viable lesson. Now, one more thing I want to touch on. I think a lot of these celebrities, a lot of them, I know for a fact that a lot of these celebrities ain't really no street dudes. They just play the image, or they probably been around street dudes, but they never was really the stand-up dude. I don't see how Doug or ASAP didn't see that coming. And I don't know. Maybe I just got a different way of thinking, but I don't understand how they didn't see that coming. Like how they don't have. We call them frenemies. How you can't spot a frenemy? Like it's literally right in your face. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, because the reason why I think it was because in the case of Thug, I think that was a slow moving car wreck. I think it was a situation where he felt like, you know, well, Gunna getting his and it's all right. But I'm like, okay, but if Gunna's not solid, eventually that's going to go on you. Eventually. And I think a lot of folks, they want to believe everything's all right so they can focus that bandwidth and that focus somewhere else. So they got a lot going on. So having to watch your man sitting over here next to you, that like I said, that can be taxing. In the case of ASAP, I think that ASAP, it was even worse for him. I think it's the same thing as we're gonna. I think he wanted it to be enough for Relly. Hey, Relly, it ain't never gonna hit for you. Your number's not gonna come up. You had your shot. I got it. You're not gonna get it. I need you to be okay with that. And that's what I was saying with the first caller who called in. I need you to be, with the brother just got off here, I need you to be okay in your lane. Brother, they're not going to be okay in their lane and you eating good. They're not going to be okay in their lane and you got more status, you got more shine, you got more respect, you got more recognition. And you're telling him, okay, I need to be over here winning and I need you to be okay with me winning and you not winning on my level. I need you to be okay with that so we can keep rolling together. And that what you find out is that's going to be a big, that's what I'm telling you. Now, you do have some people in your life who are happy for you. Hey, you got yours. Ain't nobody hating on you. But unfortunately, you got a lot of folk who, that's not going to happen. They're sitting, the only reason they're around you is they're waiting for your downfall. So I think in their case, they've been rolling with these dudes for years, especially in the case of ASAP Rocky. You've been rolling with this fella for years, and you were hoping at some point he would be okay with his level of performance, what he getting. And it's just like, hey, bro, you're going to have to be okay with that. And he was never okay with it. And Rocky was just waiting and waiting and waiting and just found out, yeah, it ain't going to happen.
I just thought about something. I just thought with this ASAP Rally Telly, whatever the fuck his name is. I never heard of this dude to the trial. I think this is the most publicity, how you say the word publicity stunt that he ever got. One of the most attention that he ever got was trying to take down his right hand and take down his homie. That's horrible. That sets some real bad precedent right there. But But viable lesson be learned, and I think, especially like a lot of cats my age, who's under 35, I think, you're in a different game nowadays. Especially if you trying to get somewhere, you gotta move strategic, as I like to, you got to move totally different. But thanks for taking my call.
Yeah, I mean, look, the bottom line is the biggest danger you can have is having somebody around you got proximity to you and they have nothing to lose and you got everything to lose. Thank you very much for giving us a call. Let this be the warning to you. You can't have folk around you who got nothing to lose. You can't do it. It's too much of a security risk. You can't do it. Especially when you don't realize they've been waiting years to undermine you. They've been playing up to you because they've literally been waiting for years to yank the rug out from under you. Okay, let me go ahead and jump back over here on Zoom. I got Brother Elijah here on Zoom. What's on your mind, brother?
Hey, big brother, I $1 sign. Question, but it's going to be a little controversial. I want to build on what you was talking about, the difference between the female prison and the male prison. I remember an episode you did say pedophiles, when men are pedophiles, they cannot survive in a male prison. They'll be targeted for death and everything like that. But the controversial question I have, then we and I know this being it's a little political, but I'm not trying to be political. When I look at a situation like Robert Brooks, I ask this question: how are prisoners acting big and bad towards another prisoner, but you don't have nowhere near that same fucking smoke for the person who's controlling your every movement and wearing a different uniform than you?
That's mental.
Okay, there you go.
And they will tell you that. I mean, at any prison, the guards are outnumbered by the prisoners 5 or 8 to 1. So
Yes,
the
sir.
only reason that the prisoners don't rise up against them is because the prisoners have not organized to do so. That's one of the reasons why they stack the prisons the way that they do. In California, for example, that's the reason why, you could just have a whole prison for the whites, one for the Latinos, one for the Asians. They don't do that. They mix them up because that keeps them disorganized. You all would be surprised. A lot of your prison administrators, they have degrees in psychology. You also go look that up for yourselves. A lot of prison wardens and folk, they got degrees in psychology. It's not accidental. So this is throughout time, but especially in America. So it's arbitrary. If the prisoners wanted to rise up, they could.
Yes, sir.
But the other thing is, remember, prisoners by definition are institutionalized.
Yes, sir.
So when you say, why don't they rise up against them? Rise up to do what, Elijah?
What I mean by rise up...
rise up to leave. Leave and go where? To the family that don't want to fool with them, the woman that's already sleeping with somebody else, the kids that can't send. Where is he going to leave to?
Well, I don't mean leave so much, but when I'm building what I was going to, when you was talking about the pedophile, and this is a prisoner versus prisoner violence and everything like that. But when I say, I'm not even talking about leaving, but you ain't got none of that smoke for that type of violence for that correctional officer. And then when I see situations like a Robert Brooks, I should see a ton of, and I'm not advocating for violence, please excuse me.
Yeah, but the reason that doesn't work, though, is that would require them to advocate for someone other than themselves. So it would be different if the prisoners all saw themselves as brothers. That would be different. So that's the dynamic that's missing there. That's what I'm saying. They got them basically tribalistic up in there. They got them segregated and divided. They're organized under their own separate rules for things. So the guards know what they can do and what they can't. They know what will offend a group as opposed to what will offend an individual.
Right.
So that's the reason why you're not going to have, it doesn't usually result in a mass uprising like that, because the guards know the rules as much as the prisoners do.
Okay. All right. And then, now before I go to my next question, thank you for educating me on that. I was just out of it and I was confused. I didn't understand that. My next question, you said something that, almost that hit home, and it hit very different. When you was talking about the Bentley and the Buick, okay, and then when you actually drive a Bentley, you can't put the genie in a bottle, but you was talking about it on the grounds of women, and we have a lot of women today who are, and I'm not putting them down, but they're not of a Tyra Banks, so to speak. Like, you would get cars 30 years ago to try to impress a Tyra Banks or basically her peer. You have women today who are double the size of their men, and they're dictating to you what kind of car or what kind of exotic car you should be driving. My question is this: how did we get here and everything? I thought wheels were wheels.
Well, I mean, 30 years ago, you were just talking to the chick who worked at Baskin Robbins. And the chick who worked at Baskin Robbins understood that she worked at Baskin Robbins. She didn't think I work at Baskin Robbins and I'm a baddie. What?
Yes, sir.
That's the difference. The chicks who were really bad, everybody knew who they were. You were either her or you weren't. Period. That's it.
Yes, sir.
But the way it is now, that's not the way they do things. So their whole mindset has changed. Their mentality has changed. The chick who used to work at Burger King did not think she was a baddie. She understood the bad chicks got results that she didn't. They got things she didn't. And the bad chicks didn't work at Burger King. You were a nice girl, but you understood you wasn't no baddie.
Yes, sir.
Every female with an iPhone, which means all of them, damn, they all think they're baddies now. All of them. And why wouldn't they? When she was at Burger King, wasn't nobody really checking for her. Today, yes, everything with an Instagram profile got something in its DMs. Doesn't matter if he's broke, ugly, lazy, crack addicted, whatever. So what I'm saying is that she now has something that they didn't have 30 years ago. She has an audience.
Yes, sir.
The girl who worked at Sonic didn't have an audience. Today, every female has a fan base. Might be raggedy, might be broke, but compared to having nothing at all, yeah, every female today thinks they got a fan base. So this is why your words today are falling on deaf ears and don't work like they do.
Right.
This is why I was the only guy who was calling out when Fresh and Misfit were going around talking about, a man who's rich, he'll grab the chick who works at the drive-thru at Chick-fil-A, if she's pretty enough. And I'm like, well, yeah, he could, but he probably shouldn't. Because, well, remember because if she's sitting there with the delusion that she's genuinely a baddie, when in reality she'll just do in a pinch. What I'm saying is, what did the chick at Chick-fil-A do to qualify to be in your company? Compared to somebody who's actually world class. Tyra Banks is actually world class. Jason, what do you mean by that? Tyra Banks didn't just look good. Tyra Banks was pretty. She was articulate. She was intelligent. She could host her own damn talk show. She could judge. She could debate. Tyra Banks wasn't just a pretty face. Tyra Banks could talk to your business associates. She wasn't just a cute face. She could do more. She could do that and produce. That's what qualified her for, quote, superstar status. That's what did it. The chick at the drive-thru at Chick-fil-A, you're taking your chances. I mean, what the hell? What did she do to qualify for the guy driving the Rolls Royce? What that's more of a sign of is that he's not qualifying, or he's looking for an easy win. Now, even that can occur, but the problem is dudes are being so damn blatant with it. Because what it used to be was a chick who doing a pinch, men of means made it clear to her, look, the only reason you here is because ain't nothing else answering the phone. That used to be what it is. It isn't that way anymore. That's where the confusion comes from. If you were a chick who was a one-night stand for a Hollywood dude, you knew where you stood. You knew where you were. At no time did you think you were on Marilyn Monroe's level. Just because you slept with Joe DiMaggio, you did not think that you were the next Marilyn Monroe.
Right.
You understood you're here. The only reason you're here is because Marilyn's not. But you were thrilled to be there because This is the caliber of man you never could have been with. But what I'm saying is you were under no illusions about where you actually ranked. That is not the case today. They think that if they got 5 guys in their DMs, she's a baddie. And if a fella driving an Aston Martin will give her the time of day, she's a dime. Hair all over the place, makeup looking like Oscar the Grouch. Doesn't matter. She's like, oh, I'm hitting. And she's got a nonstop stream of other delusional females out there who will reinforce that. There is no objective analysis. There is no competition. She doesn't get to sit there with this man making a choice between her and 5 other females in her face and choosing which one he really wants. It's a one-way conversation. It's just the 2 of them. So she gets to believe whatever she wants to. And most of these guys are not going to be honest.
Right.
We have a lot of guys today who are high-earning men. I'm talking about this. They're high-earning men, but they're professional alphas, but they're betas. They're emotional betas. So and what they're doing is spreading confusion.
Yes, sir.
They're just spreading a bunch of confusion. And so they're running the damn tables at the drive-through every fast food restaurant you can name. But beyond that, and they're spoiling the thing because when he's done with that nonsense, the guy that she really qualifies for, who will actually make a life with her, now she figures she's above him.
Right.
Oh, you're beneath me. You drive a Toyota. I just finished sleeping. That's what I told y'all. Most of your chicks in college today, they've been flued out. Why do you think they all got their little flued out stories now? Most of the girls that these young men are talking to today, they've been flued out by some guy making high 6 figures or 7 figures.
Right.
Now she's come back to you, and you can't figure out why it is that she's got this highfalutin, overinflated sense of self-worth. Dude, she been laid on top of at the damn Millennium Tower. She's been at the penthouse of the Piano Building, overlooking Central Park. Yeah, it was just a weekend, but she was there. The average 22-year-old male does not have that story. Because it can't happen. But the average 25-year-old female does.
Right.
Now, she's not acknowledging that she was put back on the roadside for pickup. Now, that she's not acknowledging. She figures if she got invited up there, something must have went wrong between the bottom floor and the top floor, but that she's one more DM away from being back where she was. And that this little pit stop here at 5 Guys, that is just a slight interruption in where she's really supposed to be.
Yes, sir. Brother, one last question, and I'm going to land my plane. You got these guys out here snitching and everything like that. And I was wondering, on a positive note, and I'm just playing devil's advocate. At least it wasn't like a case we had 6 years ago with Eric Holder and Nipsey Hussle. On a flip note, these guys but if these guys can't get to this level, do you think we're gonna start seeing them just trying to go straight for the kill now?
I'm not sure what you mean.
What I mean by that is haters, they don't really go through the time to snitch on you. A lot of haters, they have a history of just killing you.
Yeah, I mean, certainly, that goes along with being haters there if all else fails.
Right.
Yeah. Especially, that usually happens, though, if you directly confront them. Because there's the real thing right there. Because a hater got to be able to, they have to have some proximity to you or their life has lost meaning. So, altogether. So, if you end up confronting them, you're now going to make it clear that you're about to excommunicate them and they're not going to have no contact whatsoever. And usually that comes along with them putting your name out there and letting folks know what the deal is with you. So that's where you find out, the haters who go rabid. That's where you find out there. But once again, usually you've seen signs like that before.
Right.
Somebody who's prone to crash all the way out and they're going to end up doing a life sentence or something, you know who those people are around you. You know who those people are around you, and the real thing is to keep distance and keep them away. Not to, it's not even really to confront them or deal with them. Your job is to see the warning signs so that you have already put distance between them, yourself and them, so that they don't even have the opportunity to do that. The issue we have here, you got scandalous females, you got beta, backstabbing, hoish males, and the problem is people giving them proximity.
Right.
You see the warning signs, you see the problems, and yet they still have proximity to you. Your job is to be an exclusive product, not an inclusive one. And once you see those warning signs, out you go. No, I don't need to see anymore. I don't need to hear anymore. I don't need to hear your explanation. No, enough of that. Don't need it. Especially where the females are concerned. Because fellas tend to be weak for that. And that tends to be a gateway drug. If you keep scandalous females around you, scandalous females and scandalous males go hand in hand.
Right.
So if you have an untrustworthy female around you, she's got untrustworthy men around her. If she's lying to you, she's got men who lie around her.
Right.
And that's a security risk.
Of course.
I'll let you have the last word.
Hey, brother, I'm landing my plane. Thank you for tonight's broadcast. Excellent as usual and very eye-opening. $1 to you and the family. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Yeah, when you see the warning signs, that's when you're supposed to back off then. You back off from the warning signs then. Folks want to sit up here and so many people, if you're dealing with the world through a cell phone, you get so sparse of having options, so sparse of having people around you. Furthermore, you're not happy and okay by yourself. It is far, far better to be alone than to be in a room with a hater keeping you company. You are far better off being by yourself than being kept company by a hater sitting right next to you. At some point, he's going to make his move. He's got to. Let me go ahead and see if I can get Act Now here on Zoom. Let me go ahead and get Act Now here on Zoom. We'll see if they've been paying attention. Act Now, wake up there. Give you 5 more seconds, and then we got to move on. So Act Now, we'll give you a few more seconds, and then we got to move on here. All right, Act Now, what's on your mind?
What's going on, brother Jason?
All right, turn off your YouTube, sir.
Oh, man, it's going good. It's good. Blessed to see you, man. And, I haven't spoke to you in years since 2015, brother. But right now I'm in the city, though, in Chicago. But I wanted to put my mind on this, man, really what you had to say about, what does this mean for the YSL case for, A$AP Rocky and for Young Thug, you know what I'm saying? For the thing about Young Thug and them, man, I mean, as for, young black men, though, I'm speaking as a young black man, this is biblical notes to take care of, man. Biblical notes to take care of. And this is something that people should be studied at throughout time and throughout history. This is, nothing new under the sun. A lot of people think this is something new, but after time again, once you get to a certain level of economics or power wealth, I like to think of it as a way of white wealth is protected by institutions. Black wealth is often one scandal away from being taken away from us. And so,
and that enables and emboldens haters. If a person thinks they can take you down easy, then they are more likely to sit and wait or make their move.
Right. And this is just something to be very yo haters, I'm going, for all disclaimer purposes, everything that I say right now is used for fiction or is not realistic. Right now I'm into the lifestyle of criminality. A lot of people listen to you, Jason, from the streets and from the square world. But real shit, my thing is with this is that there's haters everywhere in all different types of level, man. And all it takes is in my lifestyle, for an example, there's haters, there's snitches ain't on you right now, man. All you gotta do is make one phone call, and that's it, man. You serving 30 to 40 years man. And it doesn't take that much, man. Even if you got $10,000 or $30,000, man, even $5,000, that's just gonna bring contempt, man. As young black men or just as men in general, you got to really watch people around you, man. It don't come from people outside. It comes from the people that's inside. I ain't gonna really speak on certain things, just for attention purposes. Look,
folk on the outside, they can be annoying, but they don't have access to you. So they're not going to be able to take you down because they don't know how to do it. They don't have enough access to you. Hate requires access and proximity. It requires that. They can't be a hater and they don't have access to you. They don't have proximity to you. They can dislike or this and the other. Well, at least they're not dangerous. They can't be dangerous if they don't have access to you. That last part is where you get in trouble, because all of us try to build up our lives to have a solid group of folk around us, because that's essential. But by the same token, you have to be aware that the folk who are around you, they either really love you or really hate you. We don't have enough conversations about the fact that hating has become an anecdote and a meme. It's become a cliche as opposed to a real world thing that we talk about and say, hey, let's tell you what a real hater is. Not some line from a rap song, not some cliche you heard, about it in the real world. You can't be folk can't hate on you when you ain't got nothing. So let's get that out of the way first. If you don't have anything, that person over there is annoying, but they ain't a hater. You can't be a hater when nobody knows who you are. Okay, you might be annoyed, but they're not hating on you. You can't be a nobody and have haters. You see what I mean? You can't be flat broke and got haters. I'm broke, but I got haters. No, you don't. No, you just have folks who don't like you. I'm a nobody, but I got haters. Actually, no. It doesn't work that way either. Jason, why do you say that? Because the hater has to have something to attack. They have to have something to envy you over. Nobody envies you being a nobody. That's your own self-delusion. If you think folk hate you because you're a nobody, you're probably the hater. What? If you're a nobody and you think folk hate you, the hater is probably you. The hater is probably you. But if you have something of a name where you are, you have more resources than somebody else, now you got to start watching for that and start looking at the people around you and say, okay, I'm resourceful. I got resources. Let me check the people I got around me to see, are we all equally yoked? Because if we're not, this is eventually going to be a problem.
I mean, you ain't telling nothing wrong, brother Jason. I've been listening to you since 2015, man. And what I listened to your first broadcast. It talked about the jerk, and that's what really put me on to a lot of different things. But a lot of things is the YSL case, like it proved that, you know, Gunna he had that contempt for years. He didn't just have that right there now. He had it for years. Stuff like that, like, don't just come out of nowhere. It takes years. Even the word talk, even how people come and play at you, you know, like in my lifestyle, man, a lot of different things, man. A lot of people just, if you making a little bit more money than one fella or one jack or one player in the game, you know what I'm saying? You know, he might want to get a Pooh Shiesty mask at you, man. Now people getting the Pooh Shiesty mask, you know, compared to some people, you know, like it just depends.
I think the biggest issue that people don't do enough vetting, and they also don't go back and review their vetting. Just because somebody was cool with you 10 years ago, that doesn't necessarily mean they are now. You need to constantly be checking that. And that can be difficult to do because you want to believe that somebody who's been rolling with you for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, they're solid. You want to believe that that's going to be an evergreen condition. That's a fallacy. You got to check on folk, and then you got to come back and check on them again. You're going to have to come back and review paperwork and make sure it's solid. You're going to have to come back and stress test them for the rest of your life. For the rest of your life. That's not something you can just do once and then they're good for the rest of their days. No, you're going to have to come back and check that. As you keep elevating, you don't know what's going on with them, their worldview, their progress, or lack thereof. They might not have been hating before, and then eventually you outstrip them so badly they can't help but hate. Did you come back to check and make sure they still on team you? Or did you let them alone and be like, oh, they all right? Are you sure they're all right? Or have they looked in the mirror and said, I'll be damned, I'm 30 years old now. I'm 40 years old and they ain't never gonna pop off for me. And this nigga over here is running through all the hoes and running through all the cars and living it up, and I'm stuck over here. Have you come back to check the paperwork to make sure they still good on you? And I think that's something that is sorely lacking. I think a bunch of folk get folk around them and don't even notice when things are starting to change, because they're usually little things. Little things like attitude, tone of voice.
Yep.
Little things like that.
Right. And you got to have a level of discernment too, man. Like the tonality, the cadence. Like, man, I had to let go of my own brother, man. I had to, like, real shit. Like when my grandmother was going through, when she had a stroke, and my brother, he had the money at the time, And I was overseas at that time too. I was over in Asia at the time, and I immediately came back home, and I gave my grandmother the money, and I was like, man, why you didn't give her the money, man? And this motherfucker had the nerve to tell me, oh, grandma could have got it real good. You had the money anyway. I'm like, what? And I had to leave that motherfucker alone, man. It comes from your family, your friends, your coworkers, your colleagues, people in the streets, into the lifestyle.
If you want to, folks, I'm telling y'all right now, if you want to test somebody, give them power and the ability to betray your trust and see what they do. A lot of folk don't want to take out the time to do that. Give them the opportunity to gossip about you behind your back. Give them the ability to think they could do something that could harm you, that could undermine you, and then sit back and see what they do with it. See if they go for it. So money is one good way to test people. Gossip is another good way to test people. You tell them, you talk to somebody and say, look, I'm going to tell this fellow over here. I'm going to tell him something about you. I want to see if he's going to come back and tell you. There's a lot of y'all who telling yourself that wouldn't happen. Want to bet? So money, gossip, attacking your status. There are a number of things you can do to check somebody and see whether or not they're going to make their move on you.
I mean, you ain't wrong, brother. You ain't wrong, brother. And I'm going to end this off with this, brother. But like, if you're at the ages of 16 or like to 25 or 30 in your early 30s, like brother Jason's been doing this for over 2 to 3 decades. You need to listen to this man. This man has like saved my life multiple times, both inside the street world and inside the corporate world. We listen to you, big bro. We listen to you, big love, man. We know you be moving and shaking, man. We really love you out here, brother. I'm gonna give you your flowers, man. A lot of people, it's a lot of sassy ass dudes out here, dude. And that's another thing. This is one of the best platforms you can get for manhood. This shit has saved my life. And I'm not saying this shit for no media, no news, or none of that. The information Jason has got for me, even though my lifestyle is in the contrary of the law, has saved my fucking life. Listen to this man. This man ain't gonna tell you anything crazy, brother. B1, I'm out, brother.
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. We appreciate that. Yeah, like I say, if you want to test people to see if they're still solid, give them power. Give them power and an opportunity to betray your trust. Those two things together. They can't hurt you if they don't have power to do it, and they can't use that power if they're not given an opportunity. So you give them some money, they're going to show you how much they respect you, because if they really respect you, they're not going to be sitting up here owing you nothing. They will be determined to let you know they're solid. That will take priority, is letting you know they're solid and having your approval. If there's somebody who is looking, they think they're playing chess, let me see if I can turn folk against you. You go ahead and set them up and give them an opportunity to go gossip. Give them an opportunity to go gossip. And when that gossip makes its way back to you, it's like, okay, nigga, caught you. There you go. You couldn't help but take the bait. Couldn't help but take the bait. Females got it bad about that too. Most females, the chicks around y'all, are just nonstop gossiping. That's the weapon of choice for females, is attacking character and attacking your reputation. So there's that's why females know they can't trust other females. It's like the first thing that they're going to go for is gossiping against you. The first thing they're going to go for is trying to get other folk to think less of you. When you get other people to think less of somebody, you've isolated them. They're compromised as a threat because you've already undermined their ability to make alliances with other people. Now that they're isolated by themselves, you can do them however you want to do them, because they don't have anybody who's going to run to their defense now. They don't have anyone who's going to run to the defense. So that's why that's a preferred method and a preferred weapon of choice. If everybody else ain't fooling with you, then I got you here by myself. I can do you however I want to do you now. And I don't have to worry about anybody else coming to your rescue. So that's why females become very acutely aware of utilizing that early. Please understand, if somebody's gossiping against you, they're not just doing it for no reason. If somebody is gossiping against you and trying to undermine your reputation, they're trying to weaken you so that they can do something else. They're softening you up so they can do something else. That's the thing I want you to keep in mind. Weakening you is only good if we're going to do something else to you. That's it. Other than that, it doesn't serve a purpose. Other than that, it doesn't serve a purpose. A lot of folk go walking off into that and don't realize it. A lot of them go walking into that and don't realize it. Okay, let me see here. Oh, hit the wrong button there. Yikes. I did a nice program here because folks don't talk about haters and rats. They don't talk about haters and rats. They don't discuss that. We don't have a modern, up-to-date discussion about that. We don't have a talk about that, about how you get into those things. Biblical parables are nice and everything. That's great. That's wonderful. I have no problem with that. But we also need to make sure that we have real-world examples. Thug was sitting up there when he was on trial for his life. That's when you find out who your friends are. When people think you ain't never going to make it back, that's when you find out the folks who are really for you. When folks think that you're over a barrel and you're done and you're finished, that's when you find out who's with you. I want y'all to understand that a lot of you can't do it necessarily, but let folk think that you're finished. Let folks think you done. Let folks think you down and out. Let folks think you're finally done for. And watch how they respond to you. Those of you who think you really got folk with you and you think you really got folk who are solid, let them think that ain't. Y'all have heard the folks who sit up here and say the thing online. Hey, if you want to find out if your wife is really solid, tell her that you got fired from your job. Tell her you got fired from your job and see what she does. You go put in for 2 weeks of vacation at work and you tell her you got fired from your job and you just sit there at the house for a few days. See if her attitude towards you changes. See if the way she talks to you and discusses things with you, see if that starts to change. There's a whole bunch of y'all right now. There's a whole bunch of men right now. You working your ass off. You are working your ass off to make sure you keep making every penny that you can, because you know damn well the second that if you really just had to bring this down to your quote value, she talking all that noise, but you know damn well if you didn't have the financing, you as a person, you are not enough for her. She don't rock with you as a person. She rocks with you as an asset. She rocks with you as a resource. She don't rock with you as a person. And you know full well if it ever dried up, it's like, oh, you're done. That's a wrap. And you know it. Whole bunch of fellas, the majority of the men listen right now, you know, if you ever fell off, if you ever missed a step, you're done. You're done. That's why you don't want to test it. That's why you do not want to test it. They're henpecked. He doesn't want to say anything that might upset her, might run afoul, might make her feel some kind of way because he's like, oh, hell, that's it. That's it. You got a hater sitting right there. Let me get into that right quick because I've been beating up on the men here tonight, fellas. You got to get to work. But for the women here, fellas, do you understand the biggest female hater you ever going to have is the female that feels like she's settled for you? What? But it's true. The biggest hater you're ever going to have is the female in your bed who feels like she's settled for you. Even if it's like, baby, you a strong foe. This is exactly where you're supposed to be in life right here. Dude, she's hating. She's hating. Her whole life now is calibrated to figuring out how she can get everything out of you for free. On account of the fact that as far as she's concerned, she deserves better. So she resents being next to you, even if that's exactly where she rates, even if nothing else is better than that. Well, that's where she's supposed to be. Men today, you need to do background checks. Y'all need to check exactly where she was. Now, somebody in the chat room earlier tonight, and Jason's going to have to learn patience here, folks. I mean, one of those seasons there where the universe is trying to impose patience on me is what it's trying to do. It's rough. This is very, very difficult. Because usually patience involves having to tolerate things you don't like. But I'm developing patience here, so I'm letting folks know I'm working on this patience thing. All right, so when folks ask certain things, I'm going to try to be a little more patient. I'm going to like, Jason, patience, brother, patience is just, this is their first time learning it, brother, patience. I've been doing this 2 decades. Patience, nigga, patience. So there was a guy who said, well, Jason, how do you know the female isn't lying about lying? Damn! Okay, let me go ahead and hip y'all to the game. Let me go ahead and explain this to you here in case you want to know. And you need to know. Well, Jason, you said you need to ask a female about lying. Well, how do you, if you ask her if she's ever lied, she's going to say, no, I haven't. A bunch of you already should know how you address that and how you deal with that. But here's the first thing. The first thing is you don't never believe what anybody says. You believe what they do. And obviously, if it's in their best interest to lie to you and say, why, no, I would never do such a thing. Okay, so you're supposed to stop there? Okay, yeah, I heard what she said, but everybody's going to say they would never lie. You're supposed to go back and keep testing that. You're supposed to ask about different situations. You're supposed to ask about different things. There'll be a person who lies, they'll be ready for one response. What they're not ready for is a follow-up. What they're not ready for is for you to ask about names and dates. Let me give you a basic example right here. If a female says she was dating dudes, one of the things I look for is overlap. What? Oh, folks gonna hate it here tonight. There's gonna be a bunch of ladies upset with me. Ladies, I got to read the mail. One of the things I look for is overlap. That's a basic thing that every male should check for is overlap. Jason, what do you mean by overlap? You're supposed to ask her about her exes, and you're supposed to ask what time frames she was dating those men. You're supposed to be like Dammy, the Hollywood Reporter, or one of these celebrity gossip columnists, that you know who she been with and the dates and times, the months and time spans that she's supposed to be with them. When did you meet this person? When did you break up with them? And then you're supposed to be matching those up to find out if there was overlap. Well, you were talking to Charlie over here. Yeah, I was talking to him 4 years ago. And we broke up 2 years after that. Okay. And I was talking to Jimmy, and I met him after I broke up with Charlie. It's like, okay, that's good. How'd you meet Jimmy? We worked together. How long did you work at that job? 8 years. Oh, you were working at that job with Jimmy. How long was Jimmy working there? 8 years. So was you and Jimmy, were y'all friends at the job? Yeah, we were just friends. We were just co-workers. So the folks on my mind, well, how you know? Well, if she lied about it, how will you know she lying? Because you ask more questions. You do like Dammy the first 48. You supposed to do like the first 48. You don't just ask one question. You ask a bunch of questions. Start seeing if things line up. And I'm just giving you one scenario about one thing. Money is another thing. She always having money issues. If she's lying about the men she slept with, she's lying about her damn money, finances messed up. You supposed to be ask questions. If she's lying about how she spends money, that's going to affect you if you get in a relationship with her. She tells you she doesn't spend any extra money on nothing. I don't buy anything extra. Go look through the car. See if you see receipts. Tell us, show me your bank account. Let me see what you're doing right there. Let me help you balance them books. Then you see a whole bunch of stuff up there that shouldn't be there. Did you ask more questions? No. Most males don't ask any questions because he's afraid that's going to interrupt his ability to sleep with the broad. So he doesn't want to say anything that could turn her sour on giving him sexual access. So he asks one little old question, real sheepish, holding his head down. And she knows, let me go ahead and give you this bull jive ass answer to get you off my back. She gives him that answer. Whew, all right, next. Not me. Not anybody smart. And by the way, she will respect you for it when she sees, I'll be damned, you're different from the others. They were more concerned about sex than they were about making sure they had a real answer. When she realizes that you ain't nobody's fool, she will respect you more. These other guys are somebody's fool. They let a chick get over on them simply because he was unwilling to ask more questions. Your job is to ask more questions and show her I ain't nobody's fool. Yeah, I heard what you said. It's like, yeah, we're going to see about that. Trust but verify. We're going to see about that. So if she gives you a story, you treat it just like that. Okay, she gave me an answer. That's the story. We're going to do some checking and double checking to see if that story holds. If I come back and ask the same question 3 or 4 times and I get 3 different answers, whoa, suspicion. It is not difficult. Did you ask questions? Did you add up times and dates? Did you line up people and make sure that it's consistent and it holds? Then you come back and ask about that again. Ask about that again. Jason, what's a good rule of thumb? Let me give you the most excellent rule of thumb. The most excellent rule of thumb is believe nobody.
What? Damn!
Believe nobody. I don't give a damn what answer she gives you. You just catalog what the first answer was. Come back a little bit later and ask that again. Maybe a few days, maybe a few weeks, maybe a few months. Come back and ask that answer again. See if you get the same answer the next time you come back. Let me give you a big one right now for a bunch of fellas out there who, here's a super major sign that the chick you with settled for your ass. You need to ask her about birthdays and holidays, about gifts that she's bought. If she tells you that she bought a gift for another man, your job is to be sitting up there adding up how much that was. If she tells you that you are better than the men she been with and she ain't treating on you better than the other men she been with, there's a bunch of fellas right now, you married, bought houses and cars for a chick who bought cars for another man and then handed you a car note. She paid other men's car notes, but she's handing you her car note. And you talking about, well, they was bums and she was foolish back then, but she done met a real man now. And she's sitting over there, yeah, real man, hey. You got a hater sitting right next to you and don't even realize it because you don't want to realize it. A female is treating another man better than you. She putting cash money on the table better than you. You're getting sex that is at least older than the sex she was giving that other fella. Really? Did you ask about that? Fellas, I'm telling you, you need to ask about where chicks been. Ask where she been. Ask when she vacationed. Oh, ladies, I'm about to blow up all y'all damn spots tonight. Oh, you can hear the women screaming. I'm about to mess up y'all whole program here tonight. You better hope your man ain't listening to me. Oh, y'all better not have none of your men listening to me tonight, because when I gave them up on this, you ain't gonna like it. Fellas, when you about that timeline thing, ask about if she buys gifts. If she ever bought gifts for her exes, I'll be damned. Start lining up those dates. If she says that she's been places, well, I visited this place, I visited this country, I visited this place over here. Start lining up those dates. Start lining up those dates. See if she, ask her, didn't you have a boy? Wasn't you dating Charlie back then? So you and Charlie went to Cozumel, right? So you and Charlie went to the Virgin Islands, right? Oh, so Charlie paid for you to go to the Virgin Islands. And it was his, y'all better check some dates. What date did you go? What was Charlie's birthday? By the way, when was his birthday? Some of you fellas gonna find out your chick was buying dudes vacations and buying dudes trips, and she's telling you about why a real man would never want that. A real man would never expect his woman to pay for that. Meanwhile, she didn't pay for it for somebody else. If you knew that for a fact, would you still be okay doing things the way you're doing it? If you found out that you're paying for all the vacations now and all the trips now, but before you, she had no problem paying for them trips for another man, she's with you and all of a sudden she talking about what she doesn't want to do, you're still okay with that? That's still all right? That's still okay. She's complaining about how she worked overtime to take care of another man. She worked overtime to show another man how much she valued him. She gets with you and tells you she needs to be a stay-at-home woman. What? She worked for another man, but she's standing in front of you talking about she needs to be a stay-at-home woman. So this other dude, she had no problem doing overtime for him. Now she's with you talking about what she's not going to do and what a real man would not require her to do. You still okay with that? You don't think she hating? You know what? A lot of men think because a female throwing her legs open, she ain't hating. Females know this. Ladies, y'all know that's sexual sorcery. You know full damn well most men think that everything's okay as long as she's throwing them legs open. If she's willing to have sex with him, everything must be all right. Most men have no idea that a lot of these females are having sex with you and can't stand you. But she knows that this will pull the wool over your eyes. He's not going to ask any questions. He will dismiss all the red flags and warning signs. As long as he's got sexual access, everything must be all right. It must be okay. Y'all got to go back and check receipts. You got to go back and check timestamps. You got to go back and check time logs. You got to go back and check everything. You don't take her word for it. Jason, how do you know she lying about lying? You don't take her word for it. The only reason why you ask is because she can't lie to you unless she gives you an answer first. If she gives you the answer first, now she's committed to it. So you ask the question, not because you think she's going to tell the truth, but because if she's not lying until you've asked the question. What I'm saying is you cannot convict someone of a lie they never told. If they didn't say it, then you can't convict them of it. So you have to ask, and they have to give you a response so you can say, okay, this is the response you gave me. If it turns out that response is a lie, well, good, because you can't convict them if they don't tell the lie first. That's why you have to ask. Let me go ahead and jump back over here on Zoom again. See if I can get Brandon up here on Zoom. Brandon, what's on your mind?
Hey, what's going on, Jason? I definitely had to just call on in, man, to let you know, man, you was definitely flowing tonight, giving us all some great information about these haters. Because just like the previous caller, you know, man, I definitely had to cut off my brother too. My brother was my biggest hater, and all those things that you listed on now, where they just wanted to pry for information from you, they wanted something that they can try to hold over your head. And when he finally went on ahead and cracked because he couldn't take it no more, man, he tried every damn thing to try to take me down. That dude tried it all. Like if he had any secrets or anything that I could have told him in confidence, he said he was gonna put it out there on Facebook. So so he crashed all the way on out when when he showed himself. So most definitely, man, these hating ass dudes out here, they're most definitely a problem, man, and it is definitely something we got to be wary of, especially in our families. You know, some of your biggest haters are going to be laying next to you and calling you bro. That's where your biggest haters are going to definitely come from, man. I've lived it more times than anything. People out, and as far as you were talking about people showing gratitude for things that they've done, I've literally saved people from getting kicked out of their houses. Like literally, they got what's that next Friday? That certified disc in the mail. You about to lose your house you've owned for 25 years, and you about to get kicked on up out of it, and you signed with a dusty nigga up over me. Like literally, that's happened with my family. Literally, and they was calling around. They didn't know who to go ahead and call. And as soon as I got the message, though, shoot, I was like, all right, I can save your damn house. But damn sure well, when it came down to it, though, shoot, man, they sided up against me and lied on my damn name.
Yeah, I mean, they're not grateful for it, and you know, the fact that you were able to do that, they're more resentful of it. That's what I want everybody to understand. That's what I'm saying. That's the midget standing next to a giant. Your presence is the problem. You're like, wait a minute, I'm just standing here. I ain't did nothing to you. Yes, you did. What? You standing there like you all this and that. I'm just standing here. Your presence is the problem. Just you being there. They resent just you being there. You are a reminder of what they can't be, what they can't do, and they're projecting all that animosity towards you. They got a problem with themselves, but they're not going to improve themselves. They're going to instead focus on you. And that's where it goes bad. I got to remind y'all, the music groups that y'all like so much, the ones that have lasted the longest, those are the ones that didn't talk to each other. What? Truth be told, the ones that try to be buddy-buddy, those are the ones that always fall out. The ones who only get together when it's time to play music, they'll be doing it for decades. The ones who sit up here and try to be band of brothers and stuff, that's the ones who have the falling out. Ruthless Records, Death Row, Four Tops, Temptations, In Vogue, you name it. The closer you get with folk, the longer you try to stay around them, it's going to be very, very rare that you got something like that can last. If you want to really get along with folk, you got to put distance. If you want to get along with them over a long period of time. Because there's too much that happens to you, but more importantly, there's too much that happens to them. There's too much that happens to them. No, for your favorite music groups, the only way they can stay together is they only see each other when it's time to do music. The only time they see each other is when it's time to do music. If there's not an album being recorded or a tour being performed, they ain't really talking to each other like that. It's just hi-bye, hit or miss. Other than that, no. The ones y'all see have the most issues, those are the ones who are most buddy-buddy with each other. They get close enough to have a permanent falling out. And that's really the way it works. That's really the way it is. Really.
Oh, yeah.
You get close to people, familiarity breeds contempt, and outperforming breeds outright hatred. I'll let you have the last word.
It sure does, man. It sure does, man. Outright hatred. Like my brother, he was so mad at me, man. That nigga literally pulled his damn gun on me. So most definitely, like when I say these haters, they will even try to kill you when the time comes that they really got to show their damn self. It can definitely be a situation. And this was supposed to be one of them so-called street niggas, just like we was talking about earlier, though. Shit, these street niggas ain't no damn street niggas. They just dusty niggas, though. Shoot, pretending to be street niggas, though, just ready to go and crash on out because their lives is going nowhere, and they just sitting up with a whole bunch of false inclinations that they are greater than what they are, and they have total resentment because they wake up every day doing the basic minimum, no shoot, and not getting and won't honor and praises for it, and over above what their expectations of what they're doing, and they just sitting up here, man, just it's stewing in their bitterness. And I've witnessed it multiple times with family, friends, people I've held down throughout prison sentences, man. Shoot, their contempt is something else, man. You definitely
you saw that happen with Master P. You saw that happen with Master P. He had to let, C Murder go. It's just like, and family members and whatnot sitting on this. You get one person. Success is not common. It's not as common as folk think it is. And by success, I don't just mean financial success. I'm just talking about over-excelling. If you were in school and were good at gymnastics, get ready for hating. If you were in school and you excelled at football, get ready for hating. The spelling bee, get ready for hating. If you're doing better than folk around you for whatever reason, watch out, especially if there is a direct one-to-one comparison. If anybody is going to the extent of lining you and them up and comparing you side by side, this ends terribly. Because you can't hide your flaws when people are adding you up against somebody else. You can't hide them. Either you got the goods or you don't. Either you could perform or you don't. This is going to go badly. This is going to go bad. And in a lot of cases, you'll be telling yourself that because of your life experiences. Here's the crazy thing about life. As I said before, hardship builds character. Hardship can also break people. But we can't predict which one is going to happen to you. We don't really have a way of predicting it. We can probably add you up psychologically and maybe come to some conclusions. But when we start applying the pressure and we leave you to deal with the aftermath of that, Some of you, it's going to build. Some of you, it's going to break. And I'm talking about those of you who've been through the exact same experience. Why do you think we got boot camp and special forces? You have a bunch of people who go through the exact same experience. Some of them it builds, some of them it snaps and breaks. And you and your kinfolk, you and your best friends, you and your classmates, I can put you all through the exact same situations. Some of you, with the exact same amount of adversity, some of you are going to come out of it better, and some of you are going to break. And worst of all, you're going to stay broken. You're not going to break and heal. You're going to break and stay broken. Rest of your days. Now, what do we do with him? When I put you through that experience, you came out and you built yourself up better and stronger. He's come through it and he's crippled. What's happening to him emotionally, psychologically, socially? What's happening to him that you both went through that experience and he's come out of it crippled? Now what? Because life is not through throwing curveballs at him. Only now he's in worse shape than he was before. Does he blame the condition? Does he blame the world? They usually do. Does he blame you because you didn't get crippled when you came out? Does he do that? You're looking down on me. Dude, I haven't even said anything to you. Yeah, you throwing money around, bro. You asked me to help you with your rent. Yeah, you think you're a big shot. Dude, you asked me to help you with your rent. And you're upset because you asked me and you're upset because I got it. Yeah, you think you're a big shot. You're always throwing your money around. Okay, so you needed help, but you're upset because I was able to, because I got it. Yeah, you got it. Well, it's wrong for you, and you've always been. That's when they start either making up things, because that's usually what happens. They make up scenarios never occurred. Oh, you were always kissing folks' asses, or you were always cheating folk or swindling them, or you were always jive talking folk. It's never you were always better. It's never that. It's not that one. And please remember, that's compounding. This isn't something that just happens and goes away. This is compounding. As the years go on, their ability to, some things in life are a temporary setback. They're a temporary pause. Other things, you've just permanently lost your chance. Once again, we don't know what that is either in most circumstances. I mean, if you want to be a track star and you lose your legs, you probably lost being a track star. But, you know, if you want to be an archer and you lost your arms, your archery career is probably over. Unless you can shoot with your feet or something. But we don't know when you've lost your opportunities. Okay, so folks, hang in there. It might be 3 or 5 years before you accept that we can't put this train back on the tracks. You're not going to get a do-over. It's over. In the meantime, what's happening to you over the course of that 3 or 5 years? Are you getting better and stronger? Or is that 3 or 5 years wearing you down even more than you were when you started? No wonder you're angry and mad and looking for somebody to blame it on. And even when you need help, you're not too proud to beg, but you are too proud to accept where you are. And now you're only happy if you got company. Because there's the real thing of it. They can't reconcile what has happened to them in their lives unless they prove it was a fluke, or that it wasn't a fluke, that the rest of you are on the same bad level with them. Yeah, you just haven't had the same thing happen to you. You've been through the same thing as them. Yeah, but if you went through the same thing, it would knock you down too. So now they're determined to not knock you down because it broke them. And I want you all to recognize that as a life lesson. You saw it as children, you just maybe didn't recognize it, or you didn't have parents who explained it to you. Now you're adults, and some things that seem to be contrary, that's what the rule is. Your ability to help other people will make them hate you. Your ability to help them will make them resentful of you. Even if they came to you asking for help, even if they came to you begging for help. This is why, I'm about to hurt a lot of damn feelings out here tonight when I say this.
2 o'clock in the morning, texting you. Life's problems just fucking them on up.
There are a bunch of fellas out here right now. Some of y'all been out here playing Captain Save a Hoe. You got some single mom and 5 kids at your house because you thought it was low-hanging fruit. You think you done found the love of your life because she's in a compromised position, that she doesn't have the luxury of lying or backstabbing nobody. She ain't got the luxury of hating on nobody. You better find some females to talk to. This is proof right here that men don't talk to enough women. Women know this. What I'm saying right now, every female in here is under no illusions about that. There's not a single female in here who thinks she can trust a single mom in need. Not one female in here trusts a single mom who got financial troubles. Hell, they don't trust single moms without it. The men will line up to trust her. Oh, well, I mean, she compromised, so she can't afford to die. And meanwhile, you don't realize she's sitting right there. She's compromised. She's begging you for money and hating your ass the whole damn time. This nigga think he own me. He think he bet me. He think he got me over a barrel. He thinks I'm indebted to him, and he think I should be grateful to him just 'cause he's got some funky little old money. Heifer, you needed it? No, she's not grateful. Not at all. She's hating on you because you can do something.
You can be like that woman out there in Detroit, freezing her ass off, kids dying in the car, no shoot, and still have resentment if you helped her.
Yeah, I mean, that case right there, that's a perfect example. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Whole bunch of fellas don't want to accept that one. Whole bunch of fellas out here don't want to accept that one. Looking to get something for nothing, that's a dangerous ground to be on. Dangerous ground. There are none so blind as those who will not see, as the old saying goes. And you think that because somebody's situation is compromised, that they don't have the luxury of hating? Oh, well, if they're weak enough and bad enough, they can't afford to hate. Man, who you fooling?
Nigga, please.
Who you fooling? There are women in here. Let me go ahead and say this right quick. A lot of fellas ain't gonna like this when I say this here, but I gotta say it right quick. There are women in here. The fella you with messing up 8 ways from Sunday. Money ain't never been right. He's got skills, but he's not organized. So you sit up here and say, okay, this will be better. We can get this organized. He ain't never had anything organized. You got it straightened out. His tools, his finance, and his spreadsheet. Some of you ladies might know more about the damn car than he does. What? And I'll be damned if that nigga ain't resentful. I'll be damned. See, this is the peril of a female. There's a lot of you females out here, you go grab men who are dumber than you because he'll be easily emotionally dominated. Have you considered that when you go off and go target males because you're broken your damn self and you figure he'll be easier to control and he'll be easier to manage because I'm intellectually superior? Have you considered that when you leverage that, he will not come out of it grateful, he will come out of it resentful? Because every time he looks up, you're always doing better than him or always smarter than him or always more capable. Have you considered that when you scrambled for that easy win, that's what you were doing? He will not come out of this your little pet who's happy to have you mommying over him. He's going to come out of it resentful, remembering every time and every instance and every slight that you knew more than him. Every time that you corrected him, he's going to come out of it remembering it. And he will not come out of it grateful. He will not say, boy, I'm lucky I got a chick who compensates for what I don't have. I'm lucky I got a chick who she's more organized. This is an area where I'm lacking in, and she got that together and she's Johnny on the spot. You're reminding him of his flaws. You're reminding him of his shortcomings. He's either going to take that as a plus. I told y'all this bad and good and ain't nothing in between. Thank you above the law. You're going to have the person is either going to be happy for you and be like, hey, this is great. You're doing well. Or they're going to be hating on it. People, just because somebody needs you doesn't mean that they don't hate you. What? Damn! I'm giving a life lesson tonight. People, please understand this. Just because somebody needs you, that doesn't mean that they don't hate you. Those are two separate things. If they need food and shelter, they need that whether you're around or not. You're the person providing it. Well, just because they need you, They're failing to provide it for themselves and you're able to provide it for them. Okay, so they need you. That hasn't changed the fact they hate you. That has not changed the reality that they hate you. And the more you do for them, the more they resent you. Not less. The more you keep doing that. Every time we look up, you're somebody that they hate. Do you realize how emasculating or for females degrading it is to have to sit up here and acknowledge that you need this person and they're perpetually winning and you aren't able to solve this issue? It kind of becomes hard to say that they're the problem when you are constantly stuck in that rut. Just because somebody needs you does not mean they don't hate you. It doesn't mean they don't hate you. There's a whole bunch of you sitting in here, including some of you females, not most, don't kid yourself. But there's some of you females in here, you've been in here with a man, you've been with a fella, and he resented you because you were smarter, more capable in certain areas, not in all areas, but in certain areas. You were smarter, more capable, yeah. And you thought that you were building up value and showing him that you were down. It's like, no, the way you were doing it, you're just reminding him what he doesn't have. You're just reminding him what he doesn't have. And it'll get worse if you have kids. Oh man, I shouldn't really go there. I should not really go there. Shouldn't really say this. But it gets worse when you have kids. When your kids are growing up there and they're gravitating to mom more and they learn more from her. Let me tell you something right now. Men are acutely aware of where your children are picking up life lessons from. If the children are learning more life lessons from the mom than from dad, if the children are quoting mom and not dad, if the children are emulating mom and not dad, if the children are looking to mom as their social and intellectual leader and not dad, men understand that and notice that. Men notice it. He will notice that if the children are not acquiescing to him, they're acquiescing to you. They're modeling themselves after you. He is not going to be grateful because he realizes, I'll be damned, I'm not a dominant influence. And he isn't. If he isn't, get ready for a knockdown, drag out. This does not end well. This does not end well. And it's not gonna go away. This does not end well, and it does not go away. Some of y'all think you got partners and you've got competitors. Some of you think you have partners and you've got competitors, and you didn't even understand how we got here. How in the hell do we end up in this? So it's not just Young Thug and Gunna. It's not just ASAP Rocky and ASAP Relly. It's not just that. I'm talking about you. In your house, in your life, in your family, in your bloodline. Oh, I'm about to get dirty and gully with it. Some of you are hated on by your children. What? Damn! What? Damn! Oh, yeah. Now, that one's one of, as far as that being justifiable, that's on the lower end of things. But one more thing. Some of y'all got some of y'all children hating on you. Now, that's probably your damn fault, but that doesn't change the reality. That's probably your damn fault, but that doesn't change the reality. So that's something for you to keep in mind. Don't ask where the haters are. The haters right where you at. The haters are right where you at. Some of you think that you're safe because you tell yourself that you don't have a social circle. It's just you and your woman. It's just you and your man. Are you so sure about that? Are you certain about that? Are you certain that that's what it is? Because you see, in my psychological experience, the more isolated you are with someone, it's like amplifying problems and mutations on a bloodline. The more isolated something is, the more that small problems become big things. Stand-up people are rare. Stand-up people are rare. People of principles are unfortunately rare today. But I think that it is essential to have that. It's better to have a side chick you can trust than a wife that you can't.
And deal with it, nigga.
I said that. It is better to have a side chick you can trust than a wife that you can't. And I said that. It is better to have a side chick that you ain't got to question her loyalty than to have a wife that you wondering about. It's better to have a side chick that looks up to you than to have a wife that is competing with you. That's just the truth. There's a bunch of folk right here ain't figuring it out. You're going to learn today. I want all of you to do well. I want all of you to excel. I want all of you to have lives that you can be proud of, that your children can be proud of. I want all of you to go places you never dreamed. I want all of you to make things happen that you never imagined in the good way. But I want you to understand what comes with that. What, as 50 Cent said, what comes with success is envy, is hating, is backstabbing. That's what comes with success. That's what comes with you excelling. And it's not going to come from strangers. It will not come from strangers. It will come from the people around you. It's going to come from the folk closest to you. That's where it's going to come. And the reason for that is simple. You're already on guard for strangers. Strangers are not going to be able to get at y'all because you've already got your defenses up for strangers. The strangers can't get at you unless you do something that leaves you vulnerable to them. That's the reason that you really don't have to worry about the strangers, because you've already been vigilant for them. It's the folk closest to you that you've let your guard down for. You're not even checking them for weapons. You're not even checking them for weapons. You're not checking them for knives. You're not checking them for a microphone. You're not checking them for a wire. Ain't that something? The folks who are closest to you are the ones you ain't even checking. You're not seeing what they got on them. You're not seeing where they at. You're just sitting up here saying, well, I'll take it on good authority. I'm going to do right by them. Man, look here. Since when is that protecting anybody? Since when has that protected anyone? As I just pointed out, you doing right by them can have them resenting you. Hey, when they needed help, I was there for them. I just explained for you how that goes bad. So just recognize in this day and age, that's what we got. When they go feral, they turn into rats. But please understand, they were a rat the whole damn time. They didn't just jump up one day and become one. That nigga was a rat sitting right next to you. How many females, listen to me right now, we're going to get this on the table right quick. I'm going to wrap things up. How many females in here? To the ladies listening, I want you to give me the rat emoji. If you are a female who's had to deal with some female rats, some females who tried to snitch on you, some females who tried to undermine you, some females who tried to do you in at your job, going to HR, talking to the manager. I want to know the females here. How many females in here know what I'm talking about because you've dealt with female rats? If you are a female who has had to deal with female rats in your life, in your family, at your job, at your school, in your sorority, give me the rat emoji in the chat room. I want the fellas to take a look at that and recognize that's worldwide. That's worldwide. So if you want to be a man who talks real stupid, tell these females that females are sugar and spice and every damn thing nice. And they living with chicks they can't trust every day. They living with them every day. Okay, let me go ahead and get over here on Zoom. I think I got Timmy over here on Zoom. What's on your mind, Timmy?
Hey, good morning. How are you doing over here in Kuwait working out? Just came back from Jordan. How are you?
I see she's up early. What's on your mind?
Yeah. This is a great conversation because it reminds me of something that happened when I used to work for a nonprofit in the house. It's called House of Hope. I used to work for. So, this place I used to work for was all female place. And when you say that females, they have a very cutthroat behavior, you are absolutely right. I was trying to get this young lady straight because she used to be on drugs and she used to strip. So she was trying to build her resume and she was very embarrassed to the point that she cried because she couldn't build a resume because of her stripping career. And I said, I know that's hard. That's a way we can actually even leave that out. To me, I felt like that you should not put that on your resume. The house mother, that woman was an old one through skank. I never really liked her. And I honestly felt like she had some sort of jealousy for the young lady. She had a daughter that reminded her of her. Her daughter was almost the same age as her as well. They were not in good terms. And I feel like a lot of mothers who are failures that are jealous of the daughter, especially they're a better version of them. So this old scallywag had the audacity to tell this young lady, you should put the stripper on your resume. And I'm looking at her, I'm like, what would in any good sense would that make sense? You can make up any type of lie. You had issues with your health. I would rather her just explain to the person that she just got off drug habit and trying to better her life. To put that on your resume is ridiculous. We got into an argument regarding that, and the woman was basically saying, "Oh, you shouldn't be ashamed that you stripped. I stripped before. That's gonna be something you're embarrassed about." I'm looking at this woman like she's fucking crazy. I had to report her. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, you are absolutely right. And I just thought
y'all don't see what I'm seeing over here, but I saw Timmy. She started laying down. She's talking about stripping, and then she laid straight down. I thought she was about to put on.
No. I'm doing the
I
sit-up.
thought she was about to put on the show over here. I'm like, I'm so glad they can't see what I'm seeing. I mean, she laid straight down. I'm like, okay. Yeah, I see the damn gym around you. I'm just like, clearly loose lips don't sink no ship. So
I'm doing abdominals. I'm sorry, I'm doing my.
She was getting ready. She was getting ready to show me too, y'all. She was ready to show them off for me. So she talking about stripping. I'm just here. She's doing it real slow, but the whole time. The next thing I know, I see her. She's on the ground and got the camera up over. I'm like, oh boy, she's about to put on the show. These women lately are just savage on this Zoom with me. These women are savage on Zoom now.
Jason, I respect you too much. I will not do something like that. I promise you.
That's not just what shit about that. I respect you too much. Really respect me a little bit less then. How is that disrespectful? But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, so like how would you have responded to this whole scallywag if you were in my position? Because like they have a co-coach. Even this is supposed to be a religious institution, which was crazy. And I was trying to complain to the director regarding this woman because I honestly thought that she was underhanded and trying to undermine some of these females from progressing.
And I mean, here's the thing. In a lot of cases, why subscribe to malice, which you can, to plain old stupidity? Take a look at how she lives her life. Does she live her life in a competent way, or is that some mess she would say? Remember, and what you're going off of is the same logic I would, which is, well, even somebody who's just dumb, they'll hurt you just as badly as somebody who means to do something to you. So whether they're dumb, whether they're just doing it because they're stupid, or they're doing it because they're malicious, you're going to be injured either which way. Your real thing is to recognize, it's like, okay, why would you say something like that? And your response going forward needs to be the same regardless of intent. Her intent doesn't matter. If she's capable of being dangerous, you have to handle it the same way. Her intent is irrelevant. You must be equally on guard regardless of whatever her, quote, intent is, because you have no way of knowing. And by knowing, I mean, you can't look at her brain and see what she really means. That's why you must treat it the same way, whether she meant it or whether she's malicious or whether she's just giving stupid answers.
Yeah, definitely. And even with the director herself, I also felt like she was undermining. The difference between her and the other woman is the director had lived her life a certain type of way. She owns like a mansion house. Her husband works 70 hours a week. She has a good life. She has money. She came from money as well. But it's like she doesn't allow these females to thrive. So, like, what I learned is there's two types of malicious people: the ones that are losers and the ones that have it but don't want nobody to make it.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I mean, if you know that they're smarter than that, that's the only way you could say that. If you know that she knows better than to do something like that, that's one thing. I just got to admit, there's a lot of old hoes out here. They old hoes because they're dumb. That's how they ended up with body count. So you have to determine that part first. If she's just old and dumb, she's liable to say anything. Well, it's a job, ain't it? Oh, ma'am, no, it's. But if she knows better than that, that's one thing. So you have that would be my answer to you, is determine, does she know better?
Right. Yeah, that's all I got to say. This really struck a nerve because there's a lot of, when you said what you said, a lot of people that I saw, like, not even in my personal life, but like just watching and absorbing how they interact with other people. This world is just full of failure. That it's sad. You're absolutely right.
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Yeah, she said, Jason, I respect you too much to flirt with you. I'm like, oh, wait a minute, hold on. Respect me less. Damn. Wait a minute, ma'am. You ain't got to respect me that much. I respect you too much to flirt with you, Jason. I respect you too much to put on a show for you. Really? Respect me less. You ain't got to respect me that much. You doing too much. Wait a minute. Little disrespect, all right? You can ease off of it a little bit. I respect you far too much to show you what I'm working with. Whoa. Let's not get carried away now. A man needs to be respected. Absolutely. But let's not get carried away. I promise you I'll forgive you for this. We can sweep this under this rug right quick. I brought the rug. I brought the rug and the broom. So I will allow you to sweep this under this rug right quick. Right after you finish doing this, I'll allow you to sweep this under this rug. Yeah, boy, I'm telling you, man, Zoom bring them out. Zoom, when the rest of the world can't see them, boy, Zoom set them off. Zoom let them do what they want to. They're like, Jason, I got Jason right where I want him. Last week they throwing their hips, and this week they laying down, and I got Jason where I want him, damn it. I've been waiting a minute. I'm just waiting for the chick who's going to have like her phone number on a t-shirt or something. Damn! That'll be the next one. That one right there will be subtle. I better not say too much about that. If I have one who calls me up, she's got like her phone number on her t-shirt or got her phone number behind her head or something. That could happen. Keep your eyes and your ears open, people. Haters all around you. haters all around you. Where you least expect it is where you need to most expect it. That's just it. That's just it. No, I'm not having side chick applications till after tax season. We gotta get through tax season first. I gotta make sure your finances is straight. I don't want you no playing games with the finances. Right now, chicks are holding on that little old, earned income tax credit. So it's they playing like they got their money right. No. We're gonna make sure your money is really right. So you're gonna blow that within 2 weeks. So I gotta wait to find out if your money is really right, because you'll be on swore right now. My money is straight, Jason. I'm good. Soon as April roll around, broke is a damn joke. So let me find out if your money is truly straight. Yeah, where's old girl from last week? I don't know. She can call me back when she wants to. I think I told her to take a little bit of time for that, but she's welcome to give me a call back. I ain't got a problem with it. Nikisha can give me one back too when she's chasing her quote doctor. She can give me that. She can go ahead and give me that too. They'll go ahead and check in. It depends. They're gonna wait till they wait till they fumble and flop first. After they fumble and flop, then they give me a call back. So they don't do it when they think they still got some viability. They're gonna wait till they fumble and flop, and then they're gonna call me back and expect me to work a miracle. So that's generally the way that goes. That is generally the way that happens. I try to get in there before it gets that far along, but that's generally the way that goes. I want to thank everyone, and I do mean everybody who's contributed for tonight's program on PayPal, Super Chat, Venmo, Sandra. Hello, Sandra. We got some things to talk about, as a matter of fact, there. Appreciate seeing you, baby. Let me see, my man Stephen Coachman there on the Super Chat. Appreciate that, too. Erwin Davis, thank you very much for your support. To E.L. Smith, A.O., Real Books, everybody else here, Black Powder Podcast, Mogul Maze, I appreciate y'all, to everybody here tonight. We're going to go ahead and wrap things up here. If you are new here to the business, welcome to the program that all your favorite YouTubers love to hate watch. Click that red subscribe button. Click that yellow notification bell. Join us each and every time that we are here. If you are not a member of my Patreon, the link is in the description. They're on Patreon. We've been discussing some things there on Patreon. I'm getting closer to being able to give you all some answers on that. So tomorrow on Patreon, I'm probably going to have a bit more to say about that. And who knows, you might get to be a part of it. What? You might get to be a part of it. There's a lot going on out there, but who knows? Change may be in the wind. It could be. So for tomorrow's broadcast, you might be a part of it. Tanea says, should I upgrade? I'm like, maybe you should always upgrade. Upgrade you. You should always do that. When have you ever seen folk get the best stuff at the basic level? Basic Netflix, basic cable, basic tires. When have you ever seen the best at the basic level? So tomorrow, you might want to be a part of that. Who knows? Might be something in it for you. There might be something in it for you. We're going to go ahead and wrap things up here. I want to thank all of you for tuning in to tonight's program, live or recorded. Thank you all for liking, subscribing, and sharing. And this concludes tonight's broadcast of The Business. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, Mr. Jason Black. And until next time, my brothers and my sisters from around the world, remember, handle your business or your business will handle you.